North Center Street, Collierville. Hewlett and Dunn. Hewlett and Dunn, serving you and your family since 1961.
We are Sports 56, WHBQ Memphis, and W253 DF Memphis. Flynn Broadcasting Stations.
Oh, yeah.
It's time for Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. The first hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here are your hosts, Brett Stats Norsworthy and Bryant Dacus.
No Bryant Dacus today. Well-deserved day off. And when we say that in the radio business, a much-deserved day off, there's nobody more deserving of a day off today than Bryant Dacus. He'll be back with us on Monday. We've got his Super Bowl pick, Tiger Bankroll for Sunday afternoon. Johnny, we'll get it as it gets closer because Vegas really slow with the college basketball lines. But Bryant's out today. Brett Norsworthy, Johnny Hill with you until 6 o'clock. We're Sports Time, and we want you to be a part of our show at 901-360-8255. Can text and call at that on a very busy Friday, notwithstanding the eve of Super Bowl Eve.
Yeah.
That's a lot of eves there.
A lot of eves, man.
That's a lot of eves. But tomorrow, the last day before, that is the actual eve. And then on Sunday, Super Bowl 58, and we have all the action starting in about 10 minutes. No, I kid. It starts Sunday at 2 o'clock with all of Westwood One's coverage. And I know people maybe going to parties, going to get food, going to things. Tune in. The pregame show on Westwood it's great.
Yes, it is.
And I will dip in a lot and listen to that as I'm watching games. I won't get to kind of the network coverage 4:35 so around kick, and I'll even listen to some of Kevin Harlan on Westwood One. He's that good.
He do a great job.
He really is great. Johnny, you've been here all day today, haven't you?
Man, I have, man. Feel like Brian Dacus.
Only one Brian, isn't it?
Yeah, there's only one of him, though.
We hope he's enjoying the day off.
Well-deserved.
And very, most deserved ever. And I'm glad he is. Just his Monday, he needed about a week off after the telethon he did on Monday. But the news today, both Grizzlies news from last night and front office news, Zach Kleiman, he spoke to the media today and very optimistic about next year, and fired his shot that next year starts now with a lot of these deals really building to make more deals heading in to the offseason. I think most that are somewhat or even not somewhat fair-minded will give a pass to this year. It was a hurricane of bad news and injuries and other things. So this year didn't work out very well. This time next year, though, I think he knows, and I think he understands that the fans expect playoff run this time next year, because we really hadn't had a run in the Ja years. We had that one playoff series win against Minnesota now 2 years ago, last year out in the first round to a team that ultimately ended up in the Western Conference Finals and to a team that had LeBron James on it.
Yeah, you are correct. And man, next year, man, is the year.
Next year's the payoff year.
That's the payoff year. Like you said, we had a lot of controversy. Yeah,
we'll give a pass to this year, and I think most will. But I was glad to see him speak and talk to the Memphis media last night. The Grizzlies lost. I was at FedEx Forum for that game, trying to keep up with the Tigers game as it was being played. It started about 6. Grizzlies didn't tip to about 7:10. And it was kind of the typical game that I've been to lately for the Grizzlies. Last Friday night against Golden State, probably they played hard, just Golden State's just got so much more. But these games lately, every game enters fourth quarter. I swear it feels like they're all tied 95-95.
I agree. You get a lot of these games do feel the same, and you can very see a lot of the inexperience.
And you see the experience on the other side, Johnny. That is a really good point. On the other side, they just have more. I mean, last night had, the Grizzlies went crazy and had 9 dressed out. League requires 8, and that's what the Grizzlies have had too often, too many nights in this really nightmarish stretch. But it was right there last night. They played hard. Crowd was into it. Good crowd. There have been better crowds, but I've seen worse crowds, but a very representative, fun, good crowd. And and it was right there to be won. And Chicago just had more experience, more players. They ended up winning by 8 last Friday night against Golden State. Was not quite like that, but Cleveland was like that.
Yeah.
Sacramento was like that.
Yeah.
A lot of these games look and kind of feel the same. And after tomorrow night in Charlotte, I won't say that is winnable, but Charlotte's not very good, but they are at home. Then a long stretch at home with New Orleans, Houston, Milwaukee before the break, and then coming out of the break, home against the Clippers and Brooklyn. I don't know of a lot of wins in there, but I think a win or two in there, and the rest of the year, I don't know how much winning is that important to the Grizzlies front office. I think player development and finding out what they have. More of the news was the deal for G.G. Jackson.
Yeah.
Very much like Vince Williams, earned.
Yeah, he well deserved.
Earned
That's
on
well
the
deserved.
floor.
Well deserved.
The way you do it, the way that the sports meritocracy is set up, he went out there, got that wind of opportunity, and he came through, and he came through last night. He was great last night, and you want to see him really develop. When we keep talking about next year's composition of the roster and, kind of who's the top 3 or 4 or 5, that's pretty easy to name those. We very well could be talking this time next year of G.G. Jackson maybe being that 5th or 6th most important player on the team. And if he's not, that's okay, because he'll be the ripe old age of 20 this time next year.
Yeah, man. Like, he's very young. He got a real good game. I love his game,
19's
man.
even young to you, isn't it, John?
Yeah, it's very young. and I'm only 25, but, man, he is very young, man.
What do you think 19 is to 61?
Man,
Long
hey.
time ago. Long time ago.
Hey, man. But, like, he got a great future, man. I'm really looking forward to seeing Gigi develop even more and becoming part of the young core, man. We starting to bring the young core is developing, and I just don't want everybody to give up on them as quick, man. Like, they're developing.
If it were a painting, this is kind of the first brushes hitting the canvas for the future. And Zach Kleiman kind of talked about, that today. Not a full reboot, start over for the Grizzlies, but just got to get Hale and Hardy, get some people next year that you've depended on in the past that have very much come through in the past. I mean, to go out there with Ja, Bain, Jaren, bring it on. I'm comfortable with that, but you just got to get them well. Jaren Jackson was great last night.
He was.
I didn't like the offensive fouls on the screen setting, but I think some of that was some of the inexperience of the guards a little bit leaving him hanging out to dry on some of those screens.
Yeah.
I'm not assigning blame. I like how the Grizzlies are playing right now.
Me too. And
I do. It's just not a win. It's not successful, but it's determined. It's hard.
Man, you got a lot of young guys. You can tell they're actually hustling, man. And they're trying their best, man. Someone mentioned, like, we had a lot of G League players move up to play on the Memphis Grizzlies. And this is just a lot of development going on, man, until next year. Next year, like you said earlier, is the year we need to see everything pay off.
We are in our Family Leisure studios where family and fun come together. The floor model sale right now at Family Leisure at 2120 Whitten Road. All floor model patio sets are priced to move. Wicker sofa set under $2,000. Closeout patio cushions as low as $25. Pool tables under $1,500. Set that up for pregame watching on Sunday. Have that pool table ready for the big game. Theater seating under $2,000. 4-person hot tubs under $5,000. Infrared and traditional steam saunas 25% off. Get ready for summer and purchase your above-ground pool now. To get first in line for installation, special financing available. Family Leisure, 2120 Whitten Road, just north of I-40. Billy and crew, we love y'all and we appreciate you so much. The Memphis Tigers win last night, 84-77 on the road in Philadelphia. Pretty hardy crowd there, almost 5,000 at the Liacouras Center in Philadelphia for Temple, and the Tigers do seem to get everybody's kind of best pitch. Last night, the Tigers threw the first punch and played maybe the best half of basketball, certainly since on the road at Wichita State, and arguably all season long, building the big halftime lead. And then in the second half, a microcosm of the whole season kind of played out. A little bit of the good, some of the bad, some of the lineups, some of the different combinations in there weren't that stellar. But in the end, they win. I do not want to be. I do not.
Okay.
I don't want to be that guy.
But be him, Brett.
No, because I do think the Tigers, of everything we talk about in this market, of all the different subject matters, Tiger football, Tiger basketball, SEC, football and basketball, Grizzlies, golf, baseball, NFL, every discussion point we have, I do think the Tigers are held to a paralysis of the analysis paralysis, the paralysis analysis, more than anybody else.
Yeah.
And I know it's driven out of love, and I know good and bad sometimes we squeeze a little too tight.
I agree.
With Tiger basketball. So I don't want to be the guy after a win that finds a whole bunch wrong.
Yeah.
But
okay.
That game last night to move to 17-6 for the year, I don't know how many can be that inspired that yes, the switch is on or the turns being made of any kind of run, of any kind of deep tournament run. We got to see a lot more. It's got to continue Sunday against Tulane. Just cannot have us 2 years in a row a sweep at the hands of Tulane.
I do agree.
Do you think the Tigers are too dissected, Tiger basketball, too examined, too much analysis, and then the paralysis?
Well, I think they do have a lot of analysis, but I feel like we're at home and it tends to be a lot of more like bias towards it, like wanna care for them. And this team right now, man, it just need to be more consistent. We're not consistent right now, and we just need to be more consistent. And we just need to put some titles on these guys. Who's the guy? We established that David Jones, and it got to keep going through David Jones.
Well, Jones is all that. Imagine not having him.
Yeah.
The last two times out, and he really came through. 23 again last night, 31 minutes played. And I'm not saying they entirely do this, but there's a lot of times that it feels like throw it to Jones and everybody clear out. Yeah,
there's a lot of ISO game in there, and he had a great game. Like he had a double, and he had a real great game.
Javon
but
Quinterly was good last night.
Yeah, he was
played
too.
39.
Yep. Yeah,
he 39 out of 40
He had 39 minutes, man. He was on the court most of the whole game. The whole exact game.
Had to be, because who do you trust running that point without him?
Yeah, that Caleb Mills injury, man. That was a big injury, especially a backup point guard like him. He is savvy young man, and we missing that in our backup point guard position.
And I think we have factored that in our conversation, our dialogue about the Tigers this year. But it makes Sunday afternoon really important against Tulane. It already was, but to kind of shake out of that losing streak and continue with this winning streak that's now at 2 games, it has to be done Sunday afternoon against Tulane. We'll talk a lot of Tigers basketball today. Let me give you the lineup. At 3:30, we will have Alan Bell join us from at AB3 in Driving the Line. Alan's with us every Friday. He'll talk wagering. 3:45, more Grizzlies and Tigers with me and Johnny and some other things as the news warrants. At 4 o'clock, Bruce Marshall from Vegas Insider in CBS Sports and BAMSports.net. He lives in Vegas, but he will join us from London, where he is now at the gaming show in London, and often is there at this time of year when he joins us from there. And I don't know what it is about Bruce's phone. Sometimes when he's in Spain and Portugal and London, his phone sounds better than when he joins us from Vegas. But he joins us at 4 o'clock at 4:30. We talk the SEC and the Razorbacks with Ty Richardson from ESPN Radio in Northwest Arkansas in Fort Smith, and at 4:45, the big number of the day. Johnny, you got a lot of pressure on
Man, I'm ready. I hope Brian listening. I'm ready, man.
It's easy to say you're ready an hour and 32 minutes out from showtime. It's easy to say that.
It's going to get real quick.
I had to go to long arithmetic. I had to go take my shoes off, add up fingers.
Man, I don't know, Brad. Now you making me think. Maybe I did pick a big enough number, man.
I got a big one. It's complicated, maybe too complicated. 5 o'clock, more Tiger Talk with Jason Munz. He's with us every Friday, presented by Jim's Place Grill in Collierville. He's with the Commercial Appeal on the Tiger basketball beat. At 5:30, Super Bowl picks from us. And we will go over all the picks we've had this week that's been almost overwhelming Kansas City and the over. We've got very few unders and even fewer San Francisco picks. We'll have our picks. I heard John Harden's pick today. Did you give a pick on his show?
I didn't get a pick. I waited for this. I waited for this, Brett. I waited for this.
I'm really honored.
I waited for this.
I'm really touched. You saved it for at 5:30 or so, and we'll look also at some of the crazier prop bets from the Super Bowl coming up this Sunday. And at 5:45, like we do every day, we'll wrap it up with Taco Bell Crunch Time. Before we get to topping out, Johnny, I do want to talk with us about, you and I, and for our listeners, what we think of the Hall of Fame class. And I love your description of it earlier. You said this is the first Hall of Fame class that really represents your childhood. This is your life Hall of Fame class.
Man, like, just looking at this Hall of Fame class, I love the Hall of Fame anyway. I love watching the stories and just seeing how far people came.
I love the speeches and all.
Yes.
I love them.
Yes, but it just hit different when you watched them growing up as a kid, man. Like seeing Devin Hester finally like go into the Hall of Fame as a return specialist. Man, that was just amazing. Seeing Patrick Willis and Dwight Freeney, all these greats, man, in my generation, just finally Andre Johnson, man. And he didn't, Brett, you know this like me. He had everybody and their mama at quarterback.
He did. Some of that quarterback play that he had to play with the Texans was not very good. Julius Peppers, Dwight Freeney, Patrick Willis, Devin Hester, Andre Johnson, two senior status players, Randy Gradishar and Steve McMichael, and it was very impressive last night. Steve McMichael's wife representing him. He is deep in the throes of ALS, and we all know that's the three worst letters in medical diagnosis. You're not recovering. Nobody will. Steve McMichael, part of the Great Bear defense. I didn't realize this. I had to look this up. I thought he might be one of those that played the entire career for one team. He didn't. He was drafted by the Patriots. I did not remember that. Randy Gradishar. Give me everything you know on Randy Gradishar.
Man, Brett, I'm sorry. I don't got nothing.
See, I watched him, like you said,
really?
Formative years. He was a great linebacker from Ohio State, played college for Woody Hayes, and then was a big part of the first Denver team to ever get to a Super Bowl, the Orange Crush, linebacker for Red Miller's teams, and he goes in. No coaches, no contributors this year. Also in this class, no quarterbacks, no running backs. I
am shocked about that. I'm like the quarterbacks and the coaches. You normally see a quarterback get thrown in there or a coach, man. But I'm really shocked. No coaches. The running back, I have to think who was really out there.
Well, it won't be many running backs going to the Hall of Fame from here on.
That's a great point. Derrick
Henry will.
Yeah, he will. Frank Gore will.
No doubt Frank Gore will. Real quick, here are the wide receivers that have over 13,000 yards but not yet in the Hall of Fame. Larry Fitzgerald, he's going. First ballot. He's just not up yet. All the way down to Steve Smith, Sr., he's going. It's just not time yet. Reggie Wayne didn't get in this year.
He's going.
He will go. Anquan Bolden.
Yeah.
I say yes.
I had to think.
Not eligible yet.
Yeah. His time going to come too. And he's one of the best blocking receivers as well. People don't talk about that.
Out on that edge for Edger and James and a lot of good running backs. Henry Ellard, old-timer, played from 83 to 98. He'll go in, I think, someday, kind of the senior status. Julio Jones, just not eligible. He's still playing. He'll go in. Go. Torrey Holt, heartbreakingly left out last night. I think he goes in. Jason Witten, 13,046 yards. He goes in. That's the 20 players right now at 13,000 receiving yards or up.
Yeah, man.
So if you get to that 13, but I don't know how Henry Ellard played with really good. He played with Eric Dickerson and good running backs. I think he should have been in a long time ago. Antonio Gates left out. I don't know why, but he was. This hour of our show brought to you every day by Lexus of Memphis at 2600 Ridgeway and online at lexusofmemphis.com. Great offers on all the 2024 models and always special leasing options. The one and only Lexus dealership in town. You can call them at 901-334-9673. Drive in luxury and confidence, knowing that every new Lexus comes with complimentary first and second maintenance services. Stop by today at Lexus of Memphis at 2600 Ridgeway and put yourself in the driver's seat of the all-new 2024 flagship LS500, and you'll be looking and driving in style. When you purchase a Lexus, you get top-of-the-line engineering and design, and that makes for the luxury driving experience. Online at LexusOfMemphis.com. Experience amazing at Lexus of Memphis.
Top story of the day.
All right, who wants to go first?
Well, Brett, I think you should go first.
I'll go first then. Super Bowl 58, now about 50 hours and 10 minutes away. No kidding. Feels like the pregame show comes on in an hour and a half. All the analysis, all the breakdown, a lot of the silliness, some of the protests, it's about complete. And it will get down to this on Sunday. Can San Francisco run the ball? Can their offensive line play well? Will Kansas City offensive line play like it did last year against Philly or like it did against Tampa Bay in that loss to Tom Brady? The San Francisco linebackers, Warner, Greenlaw, they have to have a big day.
Yeah,
They've
I agree.
Cover Kelsey, and then when he catches the ball, they got to get him on the ground.
Yeah.
They got to tackle Kelsey. Kyle Shanahan hadn't closed the deal. I don't think it's one that deserves a lot of criticism, but after this year, into next year, it'll start growing. He's got to close the deal, and that's all he lacks to really be dubbed a great coach. You know a guy that was a lot like that for a long time?
Who was?
Andy Reid.
Hey, that's crazy how the script just flipped.
Andy Reid was once saddled with that label of he can get there, but he hadn't closed the deal. He's closed a lot of deals since then.
My top story is that amazing Hall of Fame class. Just seeing my childhood really just see them greats really get the opportunity to go into Canton. Man, it's just everything I wanted, man, as a young man. Just seeing Devin Hester go, that really did it for me because he was really one of my favorite players growing up, man. And just seeing Devin Hester go and Dwight Freeney and all them great guys, man, it's amazing, man.
And you think of what Freeney did with those Colts teams.
Oh, my goodness.
Those teams were not labeled defensive teams.
That's what I'm saying,
And because a lot of the money went to Peyton.
They did.
And a lot of the offensive, a lot of the rest of the money, Peyton kind of dictated that it went to offensive players.
Yeah.
So they kind of had to do it a lot of years, just kind of piecemealing it together.
Yeah.
And they did. It was a great Hall of Fame class.
Not top story of the day.
All right, I'll go first with this one too, or do you want to go first?
I'll go first this time,
I don't
Brett.
want to hog the mic. Johnny, go right
Hey, appreciate you, Brett. But my not top story is the Memphis Tigers, man. I expected them to win. I expected them to get it done. And I see some guys making it bigger than what it was, man. They needed to get it done, and they had the talent.
They did win.
Yeah. They were supposed to do that.
They were. And I'm going to lodge a formal complaint
with
the Tiger Bankroll panel that I have a big influence with.
Yeah.
We went off that 6.5 spread very early in the show.
Yes, we did. We did.
Ballooned to 10.5. I take Temple. You and Bryant take the Tigers, and they win by 7. That's wrong. Johnny, that's wrong. Y'all about hurt my feelings.
Hey, man, me and Brian looked at each other. Oh, we got him. We got him.
Y'all had that. It came down late, and I was trying to watch it, and I was wanting the Tigers to win. I'm at FedEx Forum, and I couldn't believe it fell right there on 7. And you got there with a pretty good chunk yesterday, didn't you?
75. I put 75.
Pushes you to 850 for
man, Brian did.
Brian, 130.
Man, I should have took a risk like him.
He goes to 860. I lose $15. I go to 1410. But I am filing a formal complaint. First time I see Brian on Monday. That was just wrong. Y'all do me like that. My not top story right there with the same story. With the Tigers, they win. And in that win, the whole season kind of was on display. The really the good, Quinterly, excellent, especially in the first half. Jones, great. You have Tomlin kind of always teasing you. Jordan Brown didn't play a minute. I hope he's not sick again.
Man, that's what I was seeing too, man. You thinking what I'm thinking.
What bad luck if you're afflicted with that twice in one season.
Man, I forgot to send her the postcard.
I never got an address.
Me either.
I wanted to around the holidays, Johnny. First half was great, but then there was those other moments that leaves me, and I think it should leave you, with that feeling of, are you really confident that this team can make that run in the NCAA tournament, much less win a game in the NCAA tournament,
Great
much
point.
less make a run? Get to the NCAA tournament. The bracketologists today have spoken, and it's not good wherever you go. Our friend Shelby Massett will join us on Monday. He doesn't have the Tigers in. You go to Jerry Palm, and he's like the Tigers in the first 18 out.
Man.
At least Joe Lenardi's got them, kind of within in the same time zone of getting in. But must stack up wins, and then when they get to that portion of the schedule, when they go to that road trip in Dallas, that Thursday night game at North Texas, that's back to the Valley.
Yeah,
North
back
Texas,
to the Valley.
in Denton, and then SMU at Moody.
Ooh.
Got to sweep.
Yeah, you got to.
Got to sweep to get people's attention other than us.
That's what I'm saying.
They got our attention here. We got to get their attention there.
On them polls.
On the polls, on the bracketologists, on the college basketball,
landscape.
Yeah, just the smart people of college basketball. That's our top and not top story for the day. Again, we've got a lot today. Alan Bell will join us coming up from at AB3 and Driving the Line on all things wagering, and he has been hot. He had some picks last week. He will have a bunch more when we return.
Join the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin, for Wolo and Friends. Weekday mornings from 10 to 11 here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Hey, this is Eli Savoy, and I've got a question for you. Who wants to pay full retail for a pre-owned car or truck when you can buy it at wholesale? Wholesale Unlimited on Pleasant View, right off Covington Pike, has an unlimited selection of super sharp pre-owned cars and trucks you can buy at the wholesale price. And right now, you can use your tax refund as all or part of a down payment and still just pay the wholesale price. Chevy Silverados, F-150s and Ram trucks, Tahoes, Explorers, Jeep Wranglers, Grand Cherokees, Renegades, a Cadillac SRX, Camaros, Mustang convertible, Hyundais. Check it out. Go to wucars.com or Google Wholesale Unlimited Memphis. This is great. Your money goes a long way when you can buy at the wholesale price, and tax refund time makes it even better. Go to Wholesale Unlimited on Pleasant View, just off Covington Pike, with guaranteed approval. Tell them you heard about it right here on Sports 56, and you can thank me later.
You or someone you know or care about has dealt with a difficult divorce. When facing divorce, you need the attorneys at Rice Law. Nick and Larry Rice lead the firm with 3 generations and 7 decades of experience. Located in Memphis, serving the entire state of Tennessee and North Mississippi. Rice Law is who you need to call. Simple or difficult divorce, they know how to handle it. Call Rice Law at 901-526-6701, or for more information, visit them at aboutdivorce.com. That's aboutdivorce.com.
Hey, Tiger fans, join University of Memphis women's basketball on Saturday, February the 10th for 901 Women Day, when the Tigers take on the Tulane Green Wave at 2 o'clock at the El Marone Fieldhouse. Join us in celebrating National Girls and Women in Sports Day with tickets for only $2. And be sure to stick around for the post-game youth clinic. Be there, be loud, and go Tigers go.
It's time to get thunderstruck during Gossett Mitsubishi's spring sales event at Gossett Mitsubishi on the Pike. Ready to get 43 MPG Highway? Check out the 2024 Mitsubishi Mirage. We Gossett, 18610 or $249 a month. Need extra room? 7-passenger seating in 2024 Mitsubishi Outlander SE, 33605 or $399.99 a month. And Gossett Mitsubishi's got sophisticated styling and comfort in 2024 Mitsubishi Eclipse Cross, 31,200 or $449 a month. Plus, every Gossett Mitsubishi comes with Mitsubishi's 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty. That's Gossett Mitsubishi, 1870 Covington Pike, and 24/7 at MemphisMitsubishi.com.
If you want it, we Gossett and Gossett Motor Cars.
Mirage RH 005931 MSRP 19110, Outlander RZO 19512 MSRP 34605, Eclipse RZO 10625 MSRP 317, includes all rebates and incentives. PF 695 excludes tax title and license. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through end of the month with approved credit dealer stock only.
If you need glass replaced, there's only one name you need to know. Binswanger Glass, the largest full-service glass company in the U.S. They've been an industry leader for over 145 years. For all your residential, commercial, or auto glass needs, Binswanger Glass is the name you need to know. 24-hour emergency service for all commercial customers, plus a nationwide warranty on all professionally installed glass. Visit Binswanger Glass in Midtown at 340 South Hollywood across from the Liberty Bowl. Visit binswingerglass.com. Binswanger Glass.
Sports 56 traffic.
A couple of minor accidents out here in the last 15-20 minutes. Several EMS calls. It's been busy today out here. Traffic's on the increase already coming out of Midtown on 240 southbound from, let's say, South Parkway all the way down to Union. As you continue south of Memphis on the Interstate 55, still looks good down through DeSoto County. Weimer's Jewelry, located 7525 Highway 64, is your Valentine's Day headquarters. Go by and see them this weekend. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Now back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here are your hosts, Brett Stats Norsworthy and Bryant Dacus.
Thank you, Johnny Hill. And Alan Bell joins us every Friday afternoon at 3:30, and he's with us year-round, and we appreciate it so much. You can follow him on Twitter at Alan G. Bell. That's 2 L's in Alan, of course, two L's in Bell. And you also can subscribe and follow at the AB3 and at Driving the Line. He's doing his own thing now, and he's doing it well. Alan, no Bryant Dacus today. You know there's always that kind of guy around the radio station that never, ever, ever takes off. We had to change the locks and make him take a day off.
Man, first off, I appreciate you having me back. And you know what? Hey, sometimes you got to do it. You got to force it. You got to say, look, hey, take yourself a day, man.
Yeah.
Like you said. Just change the locks. Man.
Change the locks with the guy. But we've already had to call him twice, haven't we, Johnny?
Yes, we did. Shout out to Brian.
Place can't run without him. You know that feeling. Alan, this week, I know you are a Radio Row at the Super Bowl veteran. I don't know if I'm a veteran. I did it 5 times, and I loved every single second of it. Those days are over, though. I'm kind of glad. This week, if you watched any Radio Row or kept up with it and thought a little bit like, man, I'd like to be in the middle of it.
Yeah,
Me too.
Absolutely, man. It's one of those. Look. I mean, you're definitely a veteran of it. Like you do it 5 times, man. You've lived it, and look, it's one of those to where it's a ton of fun, but it's a lot more work than people think that it might be. And you're on the road. You've got the elements working there. You've got all kinds of people walking back and forth, man. It's really crazy because like you're doing your normal show, and then you look up, you're like. Is that what is Tom Cruise doing walking by here? Then you look up, you're like, "Wow, is that Guy Fieri? What in the world is happening here?"
Or you have the handler representing Miss Nude World. Would you like to have her on? I go, well, yeah, I guess, but I don't know how germane it is to the Super Bowl to have Miss Nude World on.
Yeah, hey, you know what? Sometimes you got to lock the doors there. Sometimes you have to have this Nude World on. You know what I mean? Like,
you do.
Part of the work.
I think the Radio Row that sent me in, I've done it and I've had a good time of it, was in Minneapolis. It was just too cold for me.
Oh, yeah. Hey, I was there on that one, man. Like, it was, minus 38.
That was the warm day.
Oh, that sounds
exactly,
bad.
Right? Like, it was, man, it was crazy. And that was when I first learned what thunder snow was. I didn't even know that was a thing until staying up there that week.
No kidding. Woke me up at night. I thought, it sounded like middle of June, here in the South, and it was thunder and the outside almost lightning. The sky would lighten up and just snowing to beat the band. Also at Minneapolis, Alan, and I hope you weren't. I know you weren't. I know it was between people from Houston. That's when we had punches thrown on Radio Row.
Yep, that is. I forgot about that.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Right. Yeah, right there in the mall. I forgot about that.
My great partner at the time, Rob Fisher, asked me, he said, what was your highlight of the week? I said that I left with my dignity and didn't throw or receive a punch at Radio Row at the Super Bowl.
No kidding. I remember laughing about Monday and Tuesday. I asked one of the people working there, I was like, where are the Eagles fans? Like, I can't believe they're not there. The guy goes, they'll be here. The next day, the whole mall was flooded with Eagles fans, man. It was crazy.
They sure were. That was also the year that we had a crew, a station from Denver right behind me. I'm not going to call any names because he's a fun-loving guy, but he's really, really loud, former player, and really loud. And they're off the air while I'm on the air, and it was a lot of guy talk and a lot of language. And I finally turned around and said, guys, I got open mics right here. Be cool. And so, oh, sorry. Okay, good. I said, because I can't have that going through these mics back to Memphis.
Yeah, you're totally right, man. Because, look, hey, everybody's packed in tight. Yeah, that's a great point. Everybody's packed in tight. Nobody has the same commercial break times.
Alan Bell, our guest from at AB3 and Driving the Line. And the Super Bowl on Sunday, you made some props picks last week. Let's get more into the game itself, Alan, and side, kind of traditional side and total talk.
Yeah, so I'm going to say this, man. Go ahead and give me the Chiefs with the points. Look, and I'm going to go into it and say, if I lose the bet, I lose the bet. But at this point, it's impossible for me to bet against the Chiefs. It just is, man. Like, offensively, they're playing the best that we've seen in years. Defensively, the best we've seen in years. Quite frankly, their defense is playing better than the 49ers defense is. It's crazy. The total is interesting because that number hasn't moved an inch.
Not an inch.
Nope.
They said it on Sunday night at 10 o'clock, and it has stayed there.
It has stayed. It hasn't moved at all. 47.5. And I'm fascinated by it because I could see it being really high scoring. You know, over the last decade, Super Bowls average 49 points per game. But I could see it being an old school slugfest, man. Like, I could see it being really, really tight. I'll tell you what. I'll play the under in that one, but that one's tough. Like, you could tell, even the books, they don't really know what to do with that one.
But I like your theory, especially, I don't know if it's a lately thing, but it's a little more pronounced of that first quarter, especially kind of that full first 15-minute stanza. They're not tight, but everybody's very guarded. Let's don't blow it. Let's don't have a pick six, scoop and score. Let's don't do anything goofy. Punting's not bad.
Yeah. Oh, no, you're absolutely right. I mean, look, you can't win a game in the first half, but you can lose the game in the first half if you mess around and screw up. And both these defenses will take advantage of that one. So I'm with you right there, man. Points at a minimum there. And, punts, the number set at 7.5, man. Might not be a bad play there.
Now, Alan, we're getting every guest to weigh in. Your official play is KC plus the 2.5 and the under 47.5. Can you give me a score? Because we've got a little contest going among every guest we've had all week. Can you give me a score?
Yeah. I'll tell you what. Give me the Chiefs. I think they win the game outright. Give me the Chiefs 23-20.
Unbelievable. That's going to be my exact pick at 5:30.
That's crazy.
And Alan, I'm dusting it off, and I got lucky with it for years. I probably started at about 6 or 7 years before Super Bowl 51 finally went into overtime.
Yeah.
I started with nobody remembers our picks by and large. So to have a little fun, I started adding in, and I'd do the big wind-up, and I would say Roger Goodell, Paul Tagliabue, Pete Rozell's dream comes true, overtime, and I'd pick my score. And I started that about 5 or 6 years out from finally, and I did a show with my friend Richard Cross and Matt White down in Jackson, Mississippi, early that Friday, and I went through the whole spiel, and I said, in overtime, and I got it right on the nose. I said, 34-28, Tom Brady wins in overtime, and I became a legend on their show for it. They didn't know that I'd been picking overtime 5 or 6 years in a row, so I'm dusting it off this year, 23-20 in the second overtime game in Super Bowl history.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah,
I love it. But Alan, who do you think, man, is the key that nobody's talking about to winning this Super Bowl?
Deebo Samuel's going to be his answer.
Yeah, Deebo is definitely one of them. Number 2, if you want to look on the opposite side of there, is Rashee Rice. Right? I think it's going to have to be somebody that can kind of play almost not like an offensive rover type of thing.
Yeah,
because,
I see what you're saying.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Because you've got a very good, arguably the best linebacker for the NFL with the 49ers.
Great point.
And then they also have a pass rush too. But the Chiefs could do that thing as well. So it's going to be somebody that can be a safety valve for the quarterback. So yeah, Eagle Samuel, excellent choice. Rasheed Rice as well. Who can get open? Because they're going to be bracketing Travis Kelce, right? But when you do that, somebody's got to be open.
Okay, all those props we had last Friday, Mahomes rushing, Purdy rushing, Purdy over half interception, anything this week that you've examined with driving the line, and maybe some of your colleagues there that stands out that y'all like on the prop front?
Yeah, so I think that, if you look at a book like BetMGM or DraftKings, both teams to score 20 points or more is plus money. Really like that one. You could play that and really not have to pick a winner. But yeah, what we spoke about last week with Patrick Mahomes and his rushing attempts, Isaiah Pacheco, as we go, over 16.5 rushing attempts. The more I think about it, the more that one makes a lot of sense.
We have a colleague here that we love that hosts our noon show, John Harden. He's gone. He told me, I hope I'm not giving out his private business, but he told me $10 to win $400 on Pacheco being MVP.
Yep. You know what? It could happen, man.
John, if I gave out your private business, please let me know. At least I didn't give out health care information.
You didn't.
and let me tell you why it's a smart play to do that. Because pretty much any other player on the Chiefs, their yardage is going to come by Patrick Mahomes as well, right? So, you look at a wide receiver, they went for 110 yards. Well, Patrick Mahomes threw those, and it's tough to take it away from a quarterback. But if a running back goes off, well, that's all him. So I'm with that. That's a smart little look right there, man.
Speaking of running backs, Johnny and I were talking about the Hall of Fame class that was announced last night, and notably no quarterbacks, no running backs. And I said to Johnny, we're going to see very few running backs as the years roll on. You saw almost every down of the great Eddie George's career. I saw him here in Memphis in year 2. His rookie year was in Houston. Year 2 was as the Tennessee Oilers here in Memphis. And then you saw the rest of it in Nashville. I think as the years wind on, that will help him when somebody goes, we need to put a running back in and maybe appreciate yesteryear a little more.
Yep. You know what? I think it's a great play because, that's really the difficult part is that you've got, the positional groups, like you just said, each year, and then, it's kind of that unwritten thing of, all right, well, X player didn't make it last year, but it's kind of a logjam because we can only put so many in. They're going to get in the next year, right? Like you kind of have that working. So when you don't have many running backs going and then a guy like Eddie George pops up, it's going to make a lot of sense. And let's also be honest, too. It does help when you are kind of a really, really liked figure. And Eddie George is as first class as it gets.
Really good man.
100%, man. Like, it's definitely going to help him. I'm with you. I hadn't thought about that. That's an excellent point that, he'll kind of be one of the only running backs standing there. And that'll definitely boost his profile.
I knew of a person that at his retirement, and he and his friends around him knew that he had probably done enough to someday merit getting into Canton. And he did first year of eligibility and deserved. But they told him, keep your nose clean. You're a little wild. You're a little crazy. You don't need anything off the field that might scare a voter away from you. And Eddie George has never had a thing.
No. I mean, he's never had a single issue. I'm with you, man, 100% on that.
Alan, anything else you want to give our listeners before we say goodbye for the weekend?
Yeah, I'll say this. All right, so as we go, betting the Super Bowl, do not wait until the last 2 hours to put in bets. Understand, all of these, apps can get overloaded. They're just like websites, right? And they will be. I've seen it time and time again that you get on and you can't get through because they're just overloaded with people who waited. So get a play together, get them in, and then then you don't have to worry about trying to do it right there before the game.
Do you have any advice on buying squares, or is it all luck?
I mean, look, your 3s and 7s and 0s definitely help you.
But you don't know that till you got the square. They don't draw the numbers till after you've bought
Absolutely. That's the tough part, man. Like, just go into it, having fun, and hope that you get a little luck with it.
I bought 2 last night at a great establishment here, a great local bar that also has great food. I bought 2 last night, and I know I'm going to have to call on Sunday to get my numbers after they're divvied up. So for them to find my secret code name I signed up on the board for, I bought top left corner and bottom right corner where I knew it'd be easy to find.
Boy, that's how you do it right there.
Alan Bell, you have a great weekend, and good luck to you. I hope for you and for all your people at AB3 and at Driving the Line, it's big success. Thank you so much.
Man, I appreciate you, buddy. Same back to you. Y'all be good. Have fun Super Bowl.
You got it. Enjoy. Alan Bell with us every Friday, and you hear the fun-loving nature in his voice, and he is. And he wants everybody to have a good time with it and win some cash. We all do. On Sunday, for the big game and for watching, keep the Collierville Commissary, Houston Levy and Poplar in mind, or the original in Germantown. In fact, you go there, you call now and you order from there, and you order any of the party packs, you get complimentary wings with that. How about that? Free wings to go with it, to set up your spread, to watch the big game, and enjoy with family and friends or whatever gathering you have. If you're craving an easier way to order, text commissary right now to 33733. If you're not going downtown Sunday for the Tiger game, start your big game afternoon there at the Collierville Commissary, Houston Levy and Poplar, watching the games there, and they will be open for the big game. Memphis-style barbecue and ribs done the slow-cooked Memphis way. Start the feast with appetizers like the cheese plate or the nachos, the smoked chicken wings, the tamales, then dig into the ribs or the shoulder, chopped or pulled on a plate, on a sandwich. All the sides, the party packs I mentioned, 6-pack, 8-pack, 12-pack, dessert, save room for it. I know it's a challenge. Here's the number, 901-754-5540. But go online at commissarybbq.com. They're in Collierville and Germantown and those party areas. And coming up for Valentine's, we've talked a lot about it. We'll talk even more. Orders to go, catering, tailgating, let them do the work. You can go there, or they'll bring it out to the curb to your car for you. They will take care of you for any occasion. 901-754-5540 or online at commissarybbq.com. When we come back, Johnny and I wrap up Hour 1. You're listening to Sports Time.
Broadcasting from the Family Leisure Studio, we are Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
AJ's Roofing and Restoration in Bartlett would like to say thank you to all the local men and women serving in our armed forces who risk their lives daily to preserve our freedom and way of life. God bless America. That's AJ's Roofing and Restoration in Bartlett, the professionals for residential and commercial applications and serving the area with integrity for years. For service or an estimate, call the pros at AJ's Roofing and Restoration at 901-493-1219.
Step up your wings game at East Coast Wings and Grill. With 60 wing flavors and 7 heat indexes, do you have what it takes to turn the heat on your wings up to insanity? East Coast Wings and Grill is family friendly with a large variety menu to satisfy the whole bunch. Sign up today for their loyalty program and taste the rewards. For every $1 you spend, you collect a point. Earn 100 points and receive a $5 reward. Next to Lowe's off Highway 64 in Bartlett, come try America's best wings at East Coast Wings and Grill.
Hello, I'm Greg Figueroa.
And I'm David Figueroa. Over 30 years ago, my brother Greg and I set out on a mission to offer the world a better hot sauce.
That's right, David. We made Melinda's thicker, hotter, and better than ordinary hot sauces.
And now we have 32 exciting and delicious sauces that hot sauce fans are obsessed with, like our ghost pepper sauce, our Thai sweet chili, and our best-selling black truffle hot sauce.
Melinda's also has 5 spicy ketchups made with real sugar and no added junk like high fructose corn syrup. People ask David and I, what makes Melinda so good? That's easy. We think like chefs do. Instead of burning someone with hot peppers and vinegar, we use fresh plant-based ingredients and the finest chili peppers perfectly blended to set your mouth on flavor.
Go to melindas.com to find our line of craft condiments at Walmart and other fine retailers. And right now, get 20% off our award-winning sauces with code SPORTS at melindas.com. That's melindas.com. melindas.com.
Looking for the most thoughtful, most romantic gift for the one you love this Valentine's? At Genesis Diamonds, celebrating love is what we do. Maybe it's a simple pendant, or maybe it's an exquisite, one-of-a-kind designer ring. Genesis can help you pick out the most memorable and special piece of jewelry for the occasion. And to make it even sweeter, now till Valentine's, whether you spend $199 or $199,000, Genesis will give you some chocolates, fresh flowers, and dinner out at no charge. It's a one-stop ultimate Valentine's experience. When you buy any piece of beautiful jewelry, we'll give you a bouquet of beautiful flowers, some yummy chocolates, and a gift card for dinner at Restaurant Iris. So join us at Genesis Diamonds. See our spectacular collection of rings, earrings, pendants, bands, bracelets, and more. Priced from $199 to $199,000. Let our non-commissioned experts help you find that perfect ring that'll warm their heart and, for years to come, be a symbol of your love. And we'll throw in the chocolates, flowers, and dinner as our treat. Happy Valentine's Day from Genesis Diamonds. On Poplar at Perkins Extended. Limited quantity. See store for details.
Looking for your next car? Give Car Corner a try. Car Corner, located at 2653 Mount Moriah. They specialize in cars under $15,000. Bad credit? No problem at Car Corner. CarCornerMemphis.com. That's CarCornerMemphis.com. They even have cash cars under $7,000. That's Car Corner at 2653 Mount Moriah. CarCornerMemphis.com. Look for the building with the teal green roof.
Chris Price, it's so good to see you. And you have a new business?
Yes, Dave. MetroBuildersMemphis.com. Have you noticed water stains on your ceiling? With storm season here, take a walk around your home or business and look up. Make sure there are no water stains signaling a leak prior to the heavy storms coming in. If you do see signs of water, call me. My team and I will come out, diagnose the problem, and prescribe a fix. Our team of Hague-certified inspectors are waiting to assist with any inspection or repairs you may need. We have 3 crews dedicated to repairing roofs in the Mid-South. As certified Owens Corning and Mule High dealers, we offer 20-year no-dollar limit labor and material warranties that offer hassle-free ownership. That's our hassle-free ownership guarantee. Allow Metro Builders team of professionals to assist you in maintaining your property's integrity and value. MetroBuildersMemphis.com. Your local commercial roof experts. Ask about our commercial roof maintenance agreements. Protect your investment with MetroBuildersMemphis.com. Call me, 901-375-1717. That's 901-375-1717. 375-1717.
Now back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here are your hosts, Brett Stats Norsworthy and Bryant Dacus.
Be back with us on Monday. Johnny Hill, Brett Norsworthy with you. And we go until 6 o'clock. We talked a lot about the Tigers, but we talk even more about the Tigers now. With their win last night, 84-77. They are currently 6th in the American Athletic Conference. Currently at 6th in the American Athletic Conference, and at 6-4. And this year, in front of them, here's who they've played in front of them. The only team they've played in front of them is USF, and that loss at home. So they're 0-1 with teams in front of them. They haven't played Charlotte, and they haven't played FAU, and they did defeat SMU narrowly at home. Defeated SMU at home by 2. The teams at the bottom of the AAC, the bottom 4, they lost to Rice at home. Rice right now would be 11. They defeated Wichita State badly at Wichita State, but narrowly at home last Saturday. They went to overtime to Texas San Antonio, but beat them at FedEx Forum. And to Temple, they escaped last night. Won last night, but I think most people would regard it as just barely getting out of there with the win. The bracketology today is not good. At Shelby Mast, who will join us on Monday, that is the best bracketology out there, where you have the verbiage of last 4 in and first 4 out. The Tigers are the first team of the first 4 out. In front of them at bracketwag.com, Mississippi State, Washington State, Virginia, who the Tigers beat, and that would be a good debate, and Nevada. Then the first 4 out, Memphis, Providence, Oregon, and Colorado. At Jerry Palm, you need a telescope to find them. At Joe Lunardi today, he has the Tigers in the next 4 out. You got last 4 in, first 4 out, next 4 out. So you're really way back there. In that, in front of them, they're the last one listed in next 4 out. You have Villanova in front of you. Well, if you're going to take the Virginia win, you got to take the Villanova loss. It's Xavier in front of you, Providence. You're a lot of these same teams in this neighborhood. Nevada, Colorado, Wake Forest, St. John's. And then the last 4 in, Mississippi State, Washington State, Seton Hall, and Cincinnati. Last 4 buys for Joe Lunardi, Nebraska, Butler, Ole Miss, and Florida. Both Ole Miss and Florida have plenty of work they have left that they have to do. There's no guarantee there for those teams.
Yeah, there's no guarantee. I completely agree with you, Brett. But, man, I completely agree, man.
And the bracket for Memphis, according to Joe Lunardi, because we're interested in who we might have here, he's got Houston and Eastern Kentucky in a 1-16 game. He's got Utah and Northwestern in an 8-9 game. Also, Oklahoma against the winner of a game in Dayton between Washington State and Seton Hall, and Alabama and Morehead State in the 3-14 game. So I guess for Pod to bring a crowd would be largely dependent on Alabama. Houston won't bring very many. Utah won't. Northwestern won't. Oklahoma maybe. They've had Memphis NCAA tournament history, both at FedEx Forum and at the Pyramid. But if we're going to have the pod system, you're going to have to get somebody a little more local. Need Tennessee in there to really sell the tickets, because I think ticket sales have been rather on the slow side. Hour 1 is complete. When we come back, we start hour number 2. We do it like we do it every Friday with Bruce Marshall from Vegas Insider, CBS Sports, and BAMSports.net.
Hi, this is Lauren Choate with Choate's Air Conditioning, Heating, and Plumbing. Burst pipes can be real headaches, especially with the increasing deep freezes. But don't worry, Choate's has solutions by winterizing your home's plumbing pipes. Our smart water monitor and shutoff system detects leaks and can automatically shut off your water to prevent even bigger leaks. We guarantee your outside faucet won't ever freeze with our Freeze Miser upgrade. And don't forget about heat tape we can install for drains and water pipes, keeping them from freezing down to -40 degrees. Concerned about water quality? The Halo Whole Home Water Filtration System filters out pollutants, ensuring clean showers and pure drinking water for your family. For a free estimate on safeguarding your plumbing system or filtrating your water, give Choates a call at 347-8086. And remember, Choates, let our family serve your family.
The President's Day sales event is on strong at Gossett Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram Fiat on the Pike. How about $7,000 off all 2023 Dodge Charger RTs in stock? We Gossett. How about 0% for 72 months on all 2024 Ram 1500 Bighorns? Yeah, 0 for 72 on 2024 Ram 1500 Bighorns. How about $8,000 off 2023 Jeep Grand Cherokee Limiteds? We Gossett at Gossett Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram Fiat on the Pike. There's no reason to shop anywhere else. Get to Gossett on the Pike today. Charger $7,000 off Grand Cherokee Limited, $8,000 off, and 0% for 72 on all 2024 Bighorns. So drive past the rest and come to the best. Gossett on the Pike, or shop online, GossettMotorCars.net.
If you want it, we Gossett at Gossett Motorcars.
Charger PH 548-192, MSRP 46205, Cherokee PC 662620, MSRP 55760, includes all rebates and incentives. DF 695 excludes tax, title, and license with approved credit. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through end of the month. Dealer stock only.
Hey, what's up, everybody? This is your buddy Johnny Radio. I'm here with Mark, the owner of Dyer's, out in Collierville's historic town square, where they've been cooking up them burgers since 1912, the old-fashioned way. Mark, what's going on in life? I see you got your 4 kids with you. What do they love about Dyer's?
Man, they love everything about Dyer's. They love all the great food that we serve, and they really like eating our good food and watching some of their favorite sports.
Braden, what do you like at Dyer's?
I like a bacon burger with fries, a milkshake, and with a Tigers game in the background.
Carter, who's your favorite football team?
The Carolina Panthers, and just with some macaroni with that sounds amazing.
My man Beckham, what's your favorite food over at Dyer's?
We like the double cheeseburgers.
Kinley, what is your favorite dish over at Dyer's?
Daddy's cheeseburgers and the Dallas Cowboys game in the background.
Just remember, everybody, bring your family, bring your friends, bring your team out and eat at our place.
So head on over to Dyer's in Collierville's historic town square.
Getaway Sports Bar, the best-kept secret in town, open noon to 1:30 a.m., 7 days a week. Garvin, the owner, created this SEC NFL Dream Bar over 20 years ago. You'll never miss a minute of action. 10 TVs, 5 70-inch TVs for all the big games. Rack them up on 6 pool tables. Coldest beer in town, grab you a pool stick and get you some good bar grub. 100% Angus burgers, big and moist chicken tenders. Daily happy hour Monday through Friday, 2 to 6 p.m. with long neck domestics, $2.25. Getaway Sports Bar, 4632 Winchester.
Hi, this is Troy Fiveash, owner of Fiveash Roof Services. If you need a new roof for your home or business, we hope to hear from you and will work hard to earn your business. We are experts and certified in residential and commercial roofing, siding, and gutter installation. I have been serving the Memphis area for over 20 years, and now with 2 of my sons working with me, we plan to be here for years to come. So if you need a roof, please give us a call. On a personal note, what a great time it is to be a Memphis sports fan. With the Grizzlies and the Redbirds and 901 FC, not to mention Tigers football and basketball, it's going to be a fun year. Thanks to Coach Silverfield and Coach Hardaway and their staffs for their dedication to the student and athletes, the University of Memphis, the City of Memphis, and us fans. Five Ash Roof Services, a proud partner of the Memphis Tigers and the official roofer of the Tigers home team. Five Ash Roofing, fair, honest, and ethical. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com.
Five Ash Roofing, it's what we do. We're here for you.
All 650 acquisition fee, Forte RE722-812, MSRP 21590, Sorrento PG 242710, MSRP 33010, Telluride RG 462822, MSRP 38705. Includes all rebates and incentives. Must finance through Hyundai. Excludes tax title and license. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through 2/29/24 with approved credit. Dealer stock only.
Hey, Jeff Allen, you ready to get this party started at Gossett Kia South Mount Moriah?
You bet I am, Randy. Gossett's got your new Kia that gets 41 MPG highway. 2024 Kia Forte LXS, $239 a month. $27.99 due at signing. Need extra room? How about a 2023 Kia Sorrento LX at $319 a month, $34.99 due at signing, and a 2024 Kia Telluride S all-wheel drive, $459 a month, $34.99 due at signing, all 36-month lease.
Plus, get peace of mind because with every Gossett Kia, you get a 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty.
So whether you live in Horn Lake, South Haven, Olive Branch, or Memphis, you'll be happy at Gossett Kia on Mount Moriah.
2680 Mount Moriah or online, KiaMountMoriah.com.
We are Sports 56, WHBQ Memphis, and W253DF Memphis. Flynn Broadcasting Stations.
Oh, yeah. Joining the guys every Friday is college football historian and Vegas legend Bruce Marshall from Vegas Insiders, CBS Sports, and his own website, bamsports.net. With over 30 years on Memphis radio, with handicapping and sports talk, here's Bruce Marshall with Bryant and Brett.
Bruce Marshall all the way from London with us. That's wanting to get out of Las Vegas badly. Head all the way to London, Bruce.
Yeah, I know. I like to get out on the town in Super Bowl week. I went to the extreme this week.
I was afraid that was you up on the Sphere the other day scaling it.
They have a big gaming show over here every year, and this year I decided to come. And it's big. I mean, it's really big. And so I was there. I've been here the last few days. But I'm going back tomorrow. So Taylor Swift is not the only one flying across the ocean for the Super Bowl. She's just going over a different ocean than me.
You and Taylor are almost making a circle around the globe, aren't you?
No, if you add it up, I guess we are.
That's kind of romantic. She may have lyrics about that someday, Bruce, the way she likes to write her songs. But while you were in town, were you there at all for early in the week?
I got here Wednesday morning, actually. So, but I was there a little bit early in the week. I left Tuesday, so it took me a whole day to fly in Tuesday. But I know it was rainy earlier in the week in Las Vegas. The weather was cold. And the 49ers, I know, are complaining about the field at UNLV, which is the NFL's fault because they have had total control over that ever since UNLV season finished and getting that thing ready. And they said it was too soft and it wasn't too good. But the rain might have had something to do with that. But my wife's been giving me updates. She has twice seen the Chiefs buses going by and to the Raiders facility to practice. And they're staying out there in Lake Las Vegas, about a half hour out of town. But 3 big super buses with the police escort. That's the football team. So they're there, that's for sure.
Bruce, we know the Brits like to wager, but do they like to wager on the Super Bowl? What kind of handle will the biggest casino in London do?
Well, I don't know the number, but I know they do bet it. I mean, they bet the NFL here pretty good. It's on TV. Through most of Europe, it's on TV. Germany, it's very big. And when we were over in November in Switzerland, actually, we were watching the NFL on German TV, and that whole Sunday of games on there. So it's big there. It's big here. They're starting to expand. The NFL is now coming to Spain for 2025. We heard about Brazil next year, but they're coming to Spain in a couple of years. They're already in Germany. They're into a 4-year deal there. They always come into London a couple times a year, at least a couple of times a year, 3 or 4. So it's a pretty big deal here. It's not quite like the EPL over here, but it's big enough.
Have you ever been to Brazil?
No, and I'm not going there for an Eagle game.
No way.
No, I have not. Still on the bucket list, but down the list. I wonder how those Eagles fans are thinking about that. And I read that is the first NFL Friday night game on opening week since 1970. And that, by the way, was the old St. Louis Cardinals against the Rams, 34-13 Rams. Look it up. And that's back when they would still play. The first year of the merger, they still played like these Friday and Saturday games. A lot of Saturday games that year in the NFL. There used to be a lot of those in the late 60s in the NFL and AFL, and there's still some in 1970, but that was the last Friday night opening week game, and that was the Cardinals-Rams back in 1970, the merger year.
That's good historical recall, Bruce, and as you've told us before, long before the ABC Monday Night Football regular package started in 1970, there would be Monday Night Football games. It just wasn't a regularly scheduled, a full season-long run like started in 1970 with Browns and Jets.
Right, and they started it, actually, the NFL started in 66, and they would have one game on per year, and the AFL was doing it, too, by the end of the decade. In fact, they had some games even on Friday on national TV. The AFL 66, Jets in Miami were on TV. NFL every year would do it one, and they were sort of testing it out. And by the way, this was all sort of an offshoot of that Texas-Alabama Orange Bowl game, which was at night. And Pete Rozelle thought he had something here. The night times could work. And yes, they did that. They started at 66. They had a Packers and they had a Bears and Cardinals, and then the Packers and Cardinals the next year. They had a Packers and Dallas the next year, and they had a Giants in Dallas the next year after that, and the AFL had some as well. So they were testing it out through the late 60s and then full bore after the merger.
Bruce, you could really make the case that Joe Namath drove a lot of the kind of the TV we enjoy now. He was the driving force of that. He was on that Alabama team and heartbreakingly fell short of the end zone, and Sonny Werblin ran out with the contract as soon as the game was over to sign him. But what he did in the first Monday Night Football regular package game, Joe Namath really brought a lot of football to prime time.
He did, and he was a very important guy. And I've talked to a few people who kind of poo-poo Namath, and I said, no, you're missing the whole point. I said he was the right guy at the right time. Certainly for the AFL, he was the right guy, and that accelerated the merger. When Gazette got to the height of the bidding war between the leagues, and it went on a little bit longer, then they finally called the truce and had the merger the next year. But Super Bowl III, and I know a few people who think somehow the Colts were wronged in that game, and it was no, the right team won for football's sake, and I don't think anything shady really went on in that game. I think the Jets just won, but that was good. I mean, Namath was. People forget how big a star he was, and that Bachelor's 3 story, I mean, he actually retired.
In tears.
Sort of, after the Super Bowl, and didn't come back in until training camp, but that was dominant news back then. I mean, if something like of that magnitude happened today, I can't envision what the coverage would be like with ESPN and all the other sports networks, but he was the right guy at the right time for sure.
I like that description, right guy at the right time. And a lot of that for that league, and it's no shot at him, it's no slight of this great player who was his childhood idol, but he was the opposite of Johnny U.
Right. Johnny U very buttoned down.
And the country was ready for that.
Yeah, and he was just a different guy, although he had great love, respect for Johnny.
Mm-hmm. Wore 19 in high school at Beaver Falls.
Right. And their personalities were totally different, but that's just the way it went. But he did idolize Unitas, and I think Unitas had a grudging respect for Namath too. Most of the players liked Namath. He was not an unpopular guy. A little bit with the Jets for when we partied some, but I mean a lot of when the Jets lost some games in the '60s. He took some flack for that, but for the most part, most of the players really liked him. They liked him, especially off the field. They thought he was good fun, and they thought he was a good guy. Jim Brown liked him a lot, so there you go.
The victorious team on Sunday, they both teams, win or lose, stay at the Super Bowl site, and the victor and even the defeated team, the party is on. And a lot of NBA teams, I know Golden State one year, they won it on the East Coast, and they stopped back in Vegas and partied a day or two before going to San Francisco or to Oakland for the victory parade. Sunday night in Vegas could be quite special.
Well, it
late
could.
Into Monday.
It's funny. I was told before I left on the trip this week. I told my wife that I can remember in the '60s we'd come once a year to Las Vegas in the summer. Every summer, and back then you would come in and you would drive. You'd kind of go by the airport. It was called McCarran then. Harry Reid now. But we would see the Dodgers plane, and they had their own plane, and the KO2, K O'Malley 2, and it would be sitting there. And that was, and when the Dodgers would come in from a road trip, and they didn't have another game until Tuesday in LA. The plane oftentimes went to Vegas, and the Dodgers went have fun for a day, and then they went to LA after Monday night. They went back. So yes, it's been going on for a while.
Bruce, one night, I'm going to say about 77, 78, I'm listening to the Cardinals late night, and they're wrapping up like a Wednesday night game in Los Angeles, maybe San Diego, and then day off, and then on Friday night starting a series, whichever other one it was. And it happens. It happens with us. A microphone was left on, and you could hear Mike Shannon ask Jack Buck in very conversational tone, said, well, what are you going to do on the day off? He said, I'm headed to Vegas. and he went out over there. And then they reeled it back in, Jack Buck, top of the ninth for the Cardinals, but it all went out over there.
That is funny. Well, one time I distinctly remember watching the Phillies play the Dodgers on a Sunday in L.A., and he was pitching. This would be in '73 in August. And then we went to our summer trip to Vegas the next morning, and in Caesar's Palace, we saw him in the casino there, Steve Carlton. So the other players, they'd stop there on the way. He might have went by on himself and caught up with the Phillies later, but I think that's pretty common. Those guys used to, and I used to see a lot of the Dodgers and Rams, Dodgers in particular, at the racetrack at Hollywood Park. I remember seeing Willie Davis there and Drysdale. So they were. It's been going on a long time.
Bruce, so one thing I used to so love when you would write up at the goal sheet and you would rank all, now it would be all 57 Super Bowls. Quickly for our listeners, go through what you have thought through the years, the top 2 or 3 Super Bowls.
Well, I thought that New England-Carolina game was really special, especially since it started out kind of slow. And then it just turned into one haymaker after another, and there were lead changes in the fourth quarter. I want to say it was might have been one of the highest scoring fourth quarters ever. It went back and forth, and Carolina scored that tying touchdown just a little bit too soon. And Vinatieri was able to hit that 47-yarder to win the game. That was his second game winner in the Super Bowl. But I thought just the way that went, big plays, back and forth, dramatic second half. That thing really uncorked in the second half. I thought that was it. I thought the Ravens 49ers Super Bowl had an awful lot of drama to it.
I was there. It had a lot of drama on and off the field.
Well, yeah, I mean, the blackout thing was it was an eerie backdrop to it, but all of a sudden the game caught fire after that, and the 49ers
with the
made a
kickoff
dramatic
return.
run.
Yeah, longest in NFL history.
Jacoby, he went 109, and the Niners looked completely dead, and then all of a sudden, boom, 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 they're back in the game, and it made for a corker of a finish there. So I thought those two were really good. I actually thought the Pittsburgh-Arizona Super Bowl was really good. I mean, there's been a bunch in recent years that have been more competitive, but that wasn't always the case. Brett, you remember? I mean, there was about a 10 or so year span.
Unwatchable. It started the party phenomenon. It started the advertising being locked in on the ads phenomenon.
Yeah, and they were one-sided games, and then the ads became a bigger deal. People just stayed around and watched the commercials. But the NFC won a whole bunch from the early 80s. After the Raiders beat the Redskins, there wasn't another AFC winner until Denver beat the Packers. That would have been, 14 years later. And most of those were blowouts. And after the 94 season, that would be Super Bowl 29, the Niners-Chargers had the biggest point spread of the year in the NFL, if you can believe it. 18.5, 19. And it did get there, but it was mostly because the Super Bowl trend is so many blowouts in a row, and people just bet into that, and that was the biggest line of that season was in the Super Bowl, believe it or not.
Yeah, that was Steve Young's great day. He was MVP of that one for his only Super Bowl win against San Diego, and I still think, Bruce, for Bobby Ross, win a national championship at Georgia Tech, and you get the Chargers to the Super Bowl, there ought to be statues galore for him.
Yep. That's the only time the Chargers ever been there. And, Georgia Tech in our lifetime, I mean, go back to Bobby Dodd and John Heisman, I guess. But, in modern history, that's Georgia. That's the only, whiff of it they've had at Georgia Tech. He actually won the title there. It was something else. And he had put Maryland on the map before that, too. Maryland had sort of dropped off
after Jerry Claiborne.
After Claiborne, yeah.
Yeah, Bobby Ross could really coach. From college football today, and you always have good angles in Southern California with UCLA. Were you surprised? I mean, Chip Kelly was ready to get out of there, and now with Bill O'Brien being hired by Boston College, Chip Kelly now leaving UCLA as head coach to go be offensive coordinator at Ohio State. That's wanting out bad.
Well, that is on it, and I think he saw the handwriting on the wall, didn't like it. He marches to his own drummer, and he's sacrificing some salary this year. But how much money do you need? He's made a lot of money over the years, so that's not a big deal to him.
His Eagle payout had to be good.
Yeah, he gets some pressure removed, although being an offensive coordinator at Ohio State's got some pressure. He actually coached Ryan Day in college. He was the offensive coordinator at New Hampshire, where they are actually both from. So he and Day go back an awfully long time, and he had Day on his staff at the 49ers. So there's the connection between those two. The timing, though, is really rough for UCLA. I mean, really bad. Because, first of all, the coaching cycle is pretty much completed right now. The portal is pretty much emptied out, but they open it up, the portal, for 30 days after a coaching change. So all of a sudden, UCLA could have a bunch of guys go in the portal and not have the full portal menu like teams have had the last month to fill the gaps. They have got to make the move very, very quickly. And I'm thinking they actually might go back to USC and tab Danton Lynn, who USC stole from UCLA as the defensive coordinator after the season. But, now, would he come back to UCLA as a head coach? Yeah. And would that maybe keep a lot of the Bruins in place and not in the portal? Perhaps. That's a risk UCLA might have to take here. He's never been a head coach before. But they got to do something really quick, and they got to do something like that, or they risk next year having their program stripped. If they have 45 guys go in the portal all of a sudden, they cannot wait. They got to do it really quick.
And they lost the guy that they thought someday would be their coach in Jed Fish to UW, and he's not leaving them to go back now. Some are lobbying for Rick Neuheisel's son. Super Bowl Sunday coming up with Niners and Chiefs. Break it down for us, Bruce.
I think this is going to be a slower paced game. And a lot of people think it's going to be a big a shootout. I do not think it is going to be. I think it's going to look more like those Giants-Patriots Super Bowls 12, 15 years ago. Because that's the way Kansas City was playing most of the season. And that's why they bring this undermark, 11-4-1, last 16 games into this one. Now, the one recent game that wasn't, the Buffalo game did go over, although that one slowed down in the second half. But most of the game, the Baltimore game, the same thing. This offense does not move the way it used to move. It can still be effective, but they move in shorter chunks. It's Mahomes having to improvise a little bit more. They try to get the running game going with Pacheco, but they don't have the downfield passing threats they've had in past years, and they don't strike that quickly. Their drives usually take a long time. And their defense is the best defense of the Andy Reid era. So I think it's going to be a lower-scoring game. In Kansas City's big favor, the biggest edge they have is a kicker. Butker, we've talked about this before. I've never seen him miss back to Georgia Tech. Moody, I seem to see him miss every week for the 49ers. That's an issue for San Francisco. But I do think the more playmakers on the San Francisco side, and I know Mahomes is beyond reproach, but if Purdy plays well, that's not going to be that big of an edge for the Chiefs. And it's within Purdy to do that. And he's got every one of his receivers is better than every one the Chiefs have. And I'm counting Kittle over Kelsey, too, because Kittle can really do something downfield. He's a great runner. And certainly Debo and Ayuk, the Chiefs can't match them. And McCaffrey, Pacheco's okay. He ain't McCaffrey. There are more weapons on San Francisco to do something here. Their defense is good enough, I think, to keep the Chiefs at bay. A lower scoring, updated score for me, 24-19 Niners. So I think they pull it out. If this number was 3, I'd be leery, but as long as it's under 3, and this game might land on 3. But if you're only laying 2 with San Francisco, you can do that. But I would look under as well. And not a lot of people seem to like the under, but I certainly do.
Bruce, I do too. I'm at 23-20. It's going to be full sweat, but you still get paid. You may have to hydrate Monday.
Yes. Yeah. I think it's going to be a kind of tight. But I think everything. These teams played nothing but close games in the playoffs thus far. One other note: the Niners have been getting a lot of flack from a lot of people I've been talking to in the radio and hearing around Vegas for struggling against Green Bay and Detroit. But I reminded people, look, both those teams beat the Chiefs in the regular season. They both beat the Chiefs. So don't knock a win the 49ers had. Those teams were playing very well down the stretch. Green Bay was darn dangerous, and so is Detroit. And I thought San Francisco showed a lot, especially playing rope-a-dope against Detroit like that, but finding a way to come back in those games, and they looked like they were in trouble. So that's something we hadn't seen from San Francisco before, and I think that's going to help them in the soup.
You weighed very in the shallow end on the prop bets. Anything you like?
Well, there's a couple. Just a quick note. Props, have fun with it, but don't listen to anybody who talks to you about props. In fact, I wanted to leave town when I heard somebody talk about the national anthem and how long they thought Reba McEntire was going to go. And I said, look, just stop that. Just let that go. Don't do that. But in your mind, kind of envision how the game goes. Remember, no's and unders happen a lot. And in Vegas, this is why they love the props, because people usually bet the over, the yardage, or the points, and yeses on the yes-no props. But Niners win margin, 1 to 6 points, which is what I think this game's going to land. You can get like a plus 300 on that. That ain't that bad. Neither team scores 30 points. That's a little less than even money. But I think if it plays out the way I think, that's one that might work. A unique this is not every book has this, but I've seen some. The Super Bowl will have a unique score to the Super Bowl, a score line at the end that we haven't seen in the Super Bowl. I mean, that's very random. As you get plus 450 on that, doesn't look bad. Team bets: Kansas City under like 368 yards. I think that is a decent bet on a team bet there, and that would be something I would look at too, maybe under Chiefs yardage.
But your camp keep it real fun on the props. That unique score, 43-8 for Super Bowl 48 between Seattle and Denver. The Seahawks clobbering Peyton Manning. That I think that's the only 43-8 in NFL history. Bruce, what about the weekend in baskets, real quick?
Well, I mentioned UCLA a second ago. And by the way, there's hardly any games going on tonight. A couple in the Mountain West. Watch this Nevada-San Diego State good game. Nevada at home, they're starting to play better. I think Nevada might be worth a look. Tomorrow, the Gonzaga-Kentucky game fascinates me because Gonzaga sort of could really use this win. Kentucky hasn't been playing quite as well, although they bounced back. I can see some points in that one, maybe an over. A couple of others off the track there. Air Force is going over every game. They play Fresno tomorrow. Maybe looking over there. San Francisco's going over like every game. They play Santa Clara tomorrow. Maybe looking over there. And one more. I mentioned UCLA a second ago. Hoops, keep your eye on Mick Cronin. He's got these guys turned around remarkably. I would not have said that a month ago, but they are winning. They just beat Stanford the other night. That's 6 out of 7. And the only loss in there was the Arizona game, and they almost beat Arizona on the road. I think they beat Cal tomorrow in Berkeley. It'll be a very short price, and I'd take UCLA.
And he didn't suddenly forget how to coach. And what about the crowds from Mark Madsen at Cal? He's really got that student body turned on. They had over 11,000 the other night. Real quick, before you tell our listeners how to get more information, I need that 1 or 2 seminal Super Bowl moments for you that stand out. When you think of the Super Bowl, you think of these 1 or 2 moments, please.
Buck Buchanan throwing Jim Taylor to the ground in Super Bowl I, the only Super Bowl I've been to. And that's about all us Chiefs fans, because I cheered for the Chiefs that day. I had to cheer for in the second half. So, and Taylor thought he could fight Buchanan. Bad idea.
Yeah, bad idea.
Threw him down like a rag doll. The other one was the Pittsburgh-Minnesota Super Bowl, Super Bowl IX, halftime score, 2-0 Pittsburgh.
Look at that.
There was actually a Super Bowl that had a 2-0 halftime score.
Speaking of unique scores.
Yeah, and there's been 3 Super Bowls where the safeties actually made the first score. Giants-Patriots in that Seahawks-Bronco game plus Steelers-Vikings. So safeties have kind of popped up.
And that safety in the Seahawks-Broncos game came, I think, on the first play of the game.
It did. Yes, it did. In the first play of the game. And there was like some staggering proposition that the first score of the game would be a safety, and some of the sports books got hit with that. So, that was quite a shocker.
Bruce, as always, thank you so much. Tell our listeners how they can get more information about you and from you at Vegas Insider, CBS Sports, and BAMSports.net.
Yeah, check us out. VegasInsider.com. We'll have basketball. I got a few games up there tonight. NBA's going pretty well. Not much college, but I'll have one up there. And the weekend, and some hockey, too, and, of course, football. That's up at VegasInsider.com. You can also read my stuff at CBS Sportsline, Sportsline.com. Once in a while, I show up there on CBS Sports HQ.
Bruce, you be safe getting back home and enjoy, and we will visit next Friday.
Okay. Thank you, Brett.
Thank you very much. Bruce Marshall, that we so enjoy, and you hear that big brain at work on that recall, and it's always fun. He goes 24-19. That is a total of 43 points. He goes San Francisco. Alan Bell goes Kansas City 23-20. That's 43, and I've been giving it away all week, and I'm going to do it again in about an hour when we make our picks. I'm 23-20 as well. So I'm thinking right in there on the over and under with Alan Bell and Bruce Marshall, our Friday handicappers. When we come back, we go to Northwest Arkansas and talk SEC and the Razorbacks. So we do it on Sports Time every Friday during football and college basketball season with our friend Ty Richardson. That's up next.
You already know you can listen to Sports 56 anywhere with the Sports 56 app or at sports56whbq.com. But you can also watch us daily with live video of all of our shows on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch.
Welcome to The Rendezvous.
This is John Vergas. When my dad started The Rendezvous in 1948, I don't think anyone could have imagined we'd still be serving shoulder, cheese plates, and our world-famous dry rub ribs 75 years later. But we are still here in the basement, in an alley in downtown Memphis. We sincerely thank you for making The Rendezvous what it is today. Charlie Vergas Rendezvous, a legendary experience for over 75 years, whether you dine in, pick up, or ship across the country.
You or someone you know or care about has dealt with a difficult divorce. When facing divorce, you need the attorneys at Rice Law. Nick and Larry Rice lead the firm with 3 generations and 7 decades of experience. Located in Memphis, serving the entire state of Tennessee and North Mississippi.
Rice Law is who you need to call. Simple or difficult divorce, they know how to handle it. Call Rice Law at 901-526-6701, or for more information, visit them at aboutdivorce.com. That's aboutdivorce.com.
Hey, Tiger fans, join University of Memphis women's basketball on Saturday, February the 10th for 901 Women Day, when the Tigers take on the Tulane Green Wave at 2 o'clock at the El Marone Fieldhouse. Join us in celebrating National Girls and Women in Sports Day with tickets for only $2. And be sure to stick around for the post-game youth clinic. Be there, be loud, and go Tigers go.
I didn't ask to be thrown in the streets, but I did ask for help, and Covenant House was there for me.
For these kids who didn't ask to be put in this unthinkable situation, Covenant House is there. To learn more, go to safeplacetosleep.org today.
Yo, Mark, long time no see. You still down at Dyer's?
Man, I'm not down at Dyer's. I'm out at Collierville Historic Town Square.
When'd you move out there?
We've been out there for about 13 years. We've got the shops, the park. We got the train the kids like to play on.
You still cooking those burgers the old-fashioned way?
Man, we're still flattening out those hamburger balls on a slab of marble and skillet frying them the old-fashioned way like they've been doing for 100 years.
Dude, you still have those onion rings.
Man, they're fantastic. Hand-breaded, served up just right.
I loved those milkshakes. Please tell me you're still doing those.
Man, we are hand-dipping those shakes, putting them in the old glass in the shake tin, served the old-fashioned way.
You got any new items out there I need to know about?
We're just doing a lot of gourmet sandwiches. We've got farm-raised catfish straight out of the Delta. We've got some hot tamales from Pasquale's Tamales out of Helena, Arkansas.
Man, are they served in the husk?
What those guys like to say, they're so good, you'll suck the shuck.
Go see my buddy Mark at Dyer's Cafe in Collierville's historic town square.
Sports 56 traffic.
Good afternoon. Starting to crank up a little bit more volume just in the last 15-20 minutes through Midtown on 240 South passing South Parkway. It hadn't been that bad today, at least up to this point, on 240 East from Perkins all the way out to 385 as you get onto Bill Morris Parkway, continuing out towards Collierville. That still looks pretty positive. A 24/7 reliable crane and rigging services right here in Memphis. It's Tomahawk Crane and Rigging. Check them out online at tomahawkcrane.com. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Time to talk Razorbacks on Sportstime. Joining the guys is Ty Richardson from ESPN Arkansas to talk all things Hogs and SEC. On Twitter X at Ty Sports Radio, here's Ty Richardson with Bryant and Brett.
Come on, all you Razorback fans, let's stand up and call those Hogs!
Ty Richardson joins us from western Arkansas, northwest Arkansas, over in Fort Smith, very close to Fayetteville. He joins us every Friday from ESPN Radio during the college football and basketball season, and we appreciate it, Ty. We will get your Super Bowl 58 pick, but let's start with the return of Devo Davis. Memphis has had that situation. I don't think it's that odd that a lot of players step away and then decide to come back, and Eric Mossman welcomed him back.
Yeah, it was an interesting situation. The second time it's happened in his career, Brett, and for Arkansas to be where they are in the season and just kind of unfortunately be 2-7 in the league. And I don't know entirely what happened behind the scenes. I'm kind of, again, in the dark like everyone else seems to be, but I think this is an Arkansas kid. Jacksonville, Arkansas is about hour and a half, hour 45 from Memphis, and you'd like to see him finish out the rest of his career, hopefully on a high note here in Fayetteville.
And he hit a lot of big shots for the Razorbacks in his career, and I think that's why he's had this broad latitude of two times leaving the team. Jay Billis said it, I'll say it. He quit, but he returned, and he thought the better of it. Tomorrow the Razorbacks play Georgia. Georgia needs the win, probably more than Arkansas, but Arkansas's at the friendly confines tomorrow.
Yeah, stats, I mean, they won by 10 earlier this year. I'm talking about the Bulldogs. This is a game that Arkansas, normally under Aaron Musselman, win, and might win pretty handily. Mm-hmm. And yet they find themselves in a situation that is really unbeknownst to us. Even in the first year, man, they had games where they competed. And for the most part this season, a lot of the SEC games have been blowouts, which doesn't make a lick of sense. So Georgia's going to have. I think when you look at the Bulldogs, like their best player, Abdur Rahim, if I remember his name correct, was pretty bad against Arkansas, and they still won by 10. So I expect him to play a little better. But Arkansas, again, back at home, week off, it's a toss-up for me. I don't think it's like swings either way, like definitively this team's going to win a game.
And that's what Las Vegas thinks about it. 1.5-point favorite for the Razorbacks tomorrow, 5 p.m. on SEC Network at Bud Walton Arena against Georgia. Of course, other than the outcome, how was Baton Rouge and Pete Maravich Assembly Center?
It was painful, Stats. I mean, I go down there thinking,
that's the other part I was talking about.
Yeah, two different types of pain, though.
Yeah.
Pain that you do something too much of a good thing, and then ate too much, and then also just watched a pitiful basketball performance. But it was cool. I mean, it's not like going to SEC football venues, man. You've been to them all, not all, most of them, and there's just a different element to SEC Saturday in basketball, especially when it's an 11 a.m. game. But I'm so glad I went. That's my favorite college town in the SEC. It's not the best, but it's my favorite, and crossed it off, I think, for the 4th time.
That's really good. I've been everywhere in football except for Oklahoma and won't go there this year. And there's no scheduling past this year. I think we're all kind of waiting maybe for that 9th game, but we know the SEC's not doing it unless the TV rights go up and they really pay for that 9th game. And as we go into the future, we're not going to have the kind of the scheduling model that we had with the old West-East setup.
Yeah, and I was reading an article again about that 9-game versus 8-game and ESPN not forking over enough money. They're already paying, I think it's $811 million for this new television contract. They're spending it a lot. And I am really curious because I think we thought at SEC Media Days that it was going to clearly be a 9-game schedule. And then it kind of shifted. And maybe it was Greg Byrne that said something about it. I can't remember 100%, but it was one of those things where it didn't happen this year, and if it happens in 2025, great. But I'm going to be honest, man, I wouldn't be surprised if that pushed back another season because ESPN's trying to hold out, or SEC's trying to hold out for more money, and ESPN's not willing to fork it over.
I think they will really hold out until they get the money for it. I know they will, and I think they want to see how this first year of the playoffs, if anybody can, the SEC is thinking we're the first team that gets a team in at 9-3.
Yeah, no, I don't think there's any question. Big Ten's not far behind the SEC, I don't think.
No.
I mean, I think Michigan showed Alabama, showed college football that they can contend with the big boys. Is it an every weekend thing? I don't know. Like, you stack these teams up. Michigan's got a lot of dudes on that last year's team, and we saw it in firsthand from watching what they did to Alabama and watching them just destroy Washington in certain segments of that game. But yeah, the SEC would be that team that like a 9-3 team, maybe a 10-2 squad gets to the SEC championship, loses by 1 or a heartbreaker field goal. And the committee's like, well, this is still one of the best teams in college football and puts them in. So it's going to be really interesting to see how it plays out in the Southeastern Conference.
Our guest, as usual, on Friday during football and basketball, Ty Richardson from ESPN Radio in Northwest Arkansas. Ty, how did your listeners respond to the news of Nick Saban on the College Game Day set?
Well, I was excited. Apparently, I talked about it too much. I was probably just as happy to hear him retire as I was to see him out because I wanted him just away from coaching and kicking Arkansas's tail, which he did every single year in Tuscaloosa. Arkansas was over when he arrived at Bryant-Denny Stadium. Every game since 2007 they lost. So I would, I think I would say the majority of our texters and caller stats were pro-positive, pro Nick Saban being on game day. How is it going to work? That's a lot of people. I mean, you do radio shows. I guarantee if I had to guess, you've been on television segments before. I mean, they got a lot of mouths to feed on set during a 3-hour show.
It's the Brady Bunch. I mean, it's a lot of screens.
Yeah. So, but, I mean, those producers are professional. They know what they're doing, and they'll figure it out. Saban's good on TV, and I think he'll be good on that College Game Day set.
I'm with you on I think at most places he will be greeted as what he is, the greatest college football coach ever. Now, this is one of the unusual bits to this. I don't ever remember Well, because Coach Paul Bear Bryant died a month after he retired, so he didn't make it even to the next year to kind of be around. Nick Saban may be the most successful college football coach ever to be out there in retirement with all that winning, and not young, but certainly got a lot of great years ahead of him. Newt Rockne infamously went down in a plane crash. Nobody else. Woody Hayes' career was wrecked after the punch. He couldn't go out. Bud Wilkinson went right into TV and tried politics, but nobody's won as much as Coach Saban's won, and how he will be greeted at some of these SEC towns. I think Oxford, Starkville, Fayetteville, Columbia, he will be greeted fairly nicely. Lexington, but he can't. When he goes to Baton Rouge, into Tennessee, and to Georgia and Auburn, it's going to be rough.
Yeah, I would think the same thing. I don't think Arkansas fans are going to boo him because there's I don't know if it's hatred. There's a high level of respect for what he's done in college football. And again, it's frustrating to me that he kicked Arkansas's tail every single time. But those towns that you mentioned, Athens, Knoxville, Auburn, and then also I'm forgetting the other one, Baton Rouge.
Baton Rouge.
I don't think he's going to get a welcome reception there at all. But maybe after a year or so, maybe a couple years, maybe that changes. But at least for this next season, and I bet he eats it up. I bet he eats it up too. He is a better showman than what he's put on during the course of his coaching career. I think he's going to really unleash that this upcoming season.
Oh, I so agree. I think there's a personality there that will be turned on after the battle's over coaching that people will really respond to and will see, kind of a fun-loving person. And also the ambassador, the love of the sport of football that he'll go out and advocate for, I think we need. Tomorrow in the SEC, there's one, Ole Miss is off, and there are six SEC versus SEC games, but one game with a non-conference game, Kentucky and Gonzaga. We talked about future football scheduling. What about in future basketball scheduling? Maybe give fans a break at this point of the year, and maybe have an Arkansas in Memphis. They've played in February before in '95 at Bud Walton Arena. Great atmosphere, great game. Tomorrow, Gonzaga and Kentucky. What about maybe breaking it up a little bit, the monotony down the stretch of the regular conference season?
I'm all for it.
Me too.
You and I and Brian have been gung-ho about that idea for months now. And it is odd to see Kentucky, and they elected to do so. They're like, no, we don't need a midweek bye, or we're just going to play Gonzaga. And that's, again, the brand of Kentucky. It's for recruiting purposes. It's the big CBS game, so props to them. But, yeah, I think the idea of, again, putting Arkansas and Memphis in the FedEx Forum, in Bud Walton Arena, every other year at this time of year is fantastic because you had the SEC Big 12 Challenge, which kind of interrupted conference play. That got replaced by the ACC SEC Challenge, which I thought was a pretty good success, especially in Fayetteville when they beat Duke. But yeah, I'm going to be honest, I don't even think the coaches like having to bye. I know LSU used it to its advantage last week in Baton Rouge, but Muss didn't seem, and maybe he's different, he just loves basketball, but it didn't seem like they even liked the stretch of having a midweek bye before a conference. But maybe other coaches feel different, Dad.
I want a lot more challenges, and I want a game or two, maybe a game in November and 2 or 3 in December, especially with these expanded conferences, of conference games. Let's bust out of the gate a little more instead of playing, directional or, someone, with a hyphen in it. Let's have let's have Ole Miss and Arkansas maybe play on a Friday night of a football weekend against each other.
Might as well, man. I mean, college basketball gets just destroyed by
the
late stages of college football. And so if you want to mix it up, you have to give something. And the idea of, again, putting college basketball the same weekend as college football game is perfect because people are going to be in town already. You give people a reason not just watch but go to the game. I think that's a fantastic idea, Brett.
And everybody can't get a table at Herman's on Friday night, so go to Bud Walton Arena.
Exactly. What's the place you took me in Oxford again?
I took you to Tallahatchie Gourmet.
Tallahatchie Gourmet, or they can't get a table at Tallahatchie Gourmet.
That's it. That's it. Ty Richardson, we need your Super Bowl pick.
KC. I mean, you're going to go broke betting against Patrick Mahomes.
You sure will.
He's remarkable, and I just like he has the Brett Favre mentality. You just can tell he loves to play football.
Just balls out. He does.
Yeah, and what else is so impressive about him? First of all, he's 28. Second of all, he's played his best football, arguably, in the playoffs, where the defenses are even better. Not just this year, but years past. And there's so much tread on those tires, man. I mean, Patrick was talking about the other day, he wants to play in his 40s. So we get to enjoy. I don't like the Chiefs. I'm not going to sit here and tell you I do. But we get to enjoy watching this young man who, a lot of times in sports, there's that stopgap. You have a great player retire, and then you wait a few years, and the other player emerges. We don't have that. Brady retired. You got to see them play twice. Brady beat him right before he retired, and now Patrick's taking over. It is a seamless transition for the National Football League, and thank goodness, because, trust me, there's been years in other professional sports you've had to wait 5 or 6 years. That's just no fun.
You take Kansas City. Give us a score.
I'm going to say Kansas City gets it done 31-27 in an epic matchup. Mahomes leads them on a game-winning touchdown drive. And Kyle Shanahan, once again, gets to the championship game but comes up just short.
That TV rating would approach 130 million people. Ty Richardson, have a great weekend. And if you're going to Bud Walton Arena tomorrow, enjoy and get a Razorback win.
All right, Stats, we'll do, man. Always love to catch up with you.
You got it. Ty Richardson with us every Friday from ESPN and ESPN Radio in Northwest Arkansas. And his pick continues. Everybody loves Kansas City just about, and the over 31-27. When we come back, no picks, but our big number of the day. You're listening to Sports Time.
Start your day with Sports 56 Mornings with Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy. Weekday mornings from 7 to 10, right here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
We all appreciate luxury. We love the newest technology. We want something that sparkles and looks great. Well, I've got it all in one place. It's called Genesis of Olive Branch, right at the corner of Highway 78, that's Lamar, and the first exit in Mississippi, that's Craft Road. Turn left and you will see Genesis of Olive Branch. And right now, you can get the 2024 Genesis GV70 starting at $49,480 with special financing as low as 3.49% on select models. How about the 2024 Genesis GV80? A little bit bigger, starting at $55,995, financing as low as 5.49% with a $2,000 rebate when trading a luxury brand. Call them. They'll even bring you a Genesis at your work or your home for a test drive. They're convinced that when you drive a Genesis, you're going to want one. Call 662-890-6684. Ask for Vinny. Genesis of Olive Branch.
Do you have an invention idea but don't know what to do next? Call InventHelp today. We have representatives nationwide and services to showcase your invention. Get started today.
Call 1-800-217-4380. That's 1-800-217-4380.
eBay Motors is here for the ride. Go ahead, feel your engine. Admire that perfectly installed exhaust. Your vehicle's moving along this freeway like it was made from fresh installs and a whole lot of love. With eBay Motors, you get over 122 million parts to keep it running. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, they'll be the perfect fit every time. Plus, at these prices, well, we're burning rubber, not cash. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
It's leap year, so jump into big savings at Gossett Kia on the Pike. New 2024 Kia Forte LXS gets 41 MPG, $239 a month, $27.99 due at signing. How about 7-passenger seating? Get 2023 Kia Sorento LX, $319 a month, $34.99 due at signing. 2024 Kia Telluride LX, $459 a month, $34.99 due at signing. All 36-month lease, and don't forget, every Gossett Kia comes with a 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty. So call Bobby J to put you in a new Kia today. That's Gossett Kia, 1900 Covington Pike, or online anytime at KiaCovingtonPike.com.
If you want it, we got it at Gossett Motor Cars.
All 650 acquisition fee. Forte RE722-812, MSRP 21,590. Sorrento PG 242710, MSRP 33,010. Telluride RG 462-822, MSRP 38,705. Includes all rebates and incentives. Must finance through Hyundai. Excludes tax, title, and license. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through 2/29/24 with approved credit. Dealer stock only.
Now back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Bryant Dacus.
Big Daddy. Hello, Big Brand. It's a guy, he wants to be big, then he gets big, he doesn't want to be big anymore, then he gets small, but the suit's too big. Big Daddy. The big boy.
You're a big guy. I think she's trying to pull a fast one on Big Daddy.
The big number of the day.
Johnny, I'm going to go first, and I'm going to go with my big number of 3,079. 3079.
Whoa, what a number.
That's a big odd number, isn't it? It was easy to go with the 51.3 million that the SEC distributed to every member institution from TV last year, but that's almost too big. 3,079 people can really get a grasp of. And what is that number? That's the combined yardage for every single Kansas City Chiefs starting quarterback in Super Bowl and 49ers in Super Bowl starters, their passing yardage. Here's Leonard Dawson, is Hank Strand would always call him. Super Bowl 1, 211. Super Bowl 4, 142. He got 142 in a win.
Oh, my goodness.
Patrick Mahomes in 54, he got 286. In 55, he got 270. In 57, 182. 353 and 738, 1091. Joe Montana for the 49ers. Only 157 in Super Bowl 16. And then listen to these next three. Super Bowl 19, 331. Super Bowl 23, 357. Super Bowl 24, 297. He adds up to 1142. Steve Young in that one Super Bowl that Bruce Marshall was talking about, he went for 325 against the Chargers. Colin Kaepernick in a loss went for 302 in defeat. And Jimmy Garoppolo in defeat in Super Bowl 54 went for 219, 325, 302, 219, and Joe Montana's 1142, 1998. 1998 and 1091, it better equal 3079.
Wow. Okay, man.
I told you I had to take off my shoes and socks.
What a number, man. You set the bar real high. Real high.
Come through for me, Johnny. Brian's listening.
Hey, Brian, I know you listening. I know I'm a hard judge, but, hey, man, I got a short and simple big number. 25.
Okay.
Okay, man. You really mentioned it earlier, but 25, that's for G.G. Jackson. And the reason I said 25 is because he's the only youngest player since Kobe Bryant to have 25 or more points off the bench. And how coincidental that happened as his statue got unveiled.
And that ceremony yesterday.
Man, so it was like,
Is Vanessa Bryant the strongest woman on earth? To go what she's been through, you think of her heartache and sadness.
Man, the thing about it, Brett, she lost a daughter and a husband in one day.
Blink of an eye.
And that just, not trying to get off topic, but it just shows how simple life can just change.
I've got it in my notes to talk about it during crunch time. And the Lakers and all the great franchises, baseball, the Yankees and the Red Sox and the Dodgers, college basketball, Kentucky, Duke, North Carolina, college football, Alabama, USC, Ohio State, kind of that big legacy, great program, great franchise, NBA, Lakers and Celtics. They really do the ceremony first class.
They do.
And it's why I cracked on all that around the in-season tournament. The Lakers they didn't need that for any legacy. They didn't need that for their, for their own puffery. They've got it. In that ceremony yesterday, in reading about it and watching her and her composure, and still, now, 4 years later.
And it don't feel like it.
Still heartbroken. Just has to wake up a lot of days. Just how in the world did this happen to me, to lose a child and a husband in the prime of life for the husband, and to see her kind of over that ceremony. And when they cracked that confetti cannon and pulled the curtain off, that was an emotional moment.
It was, man.
And the irony, the coincidence, as you said very well, Johnny, for Gigi to do it on that day.
Yeah, and he got a contract.
Sports, man.
Off of
Sports can really
Sports
do it.
is amazing.
It really
Sports is amazing.
Sports can be it is so good. And last night it was fun to be there. You know, that's the one that in a few years we'll be talking about is, you know, kind of first big breakout moment for Gigi, and we expect more.
Yeah, I expect more to come, especially if I'm only being 19. Like, that's just amazing, man. Like, you just think about it.
Turned 19 last fall.
That's it.
I mean, he's 19 and a half at max.
He can't even do nothing, really,
No.
but go to the gym.
That's it. That's all he can do.
And it's just amazing to see that and the ceremony also, man, because it made me think about the ceremony anymore. That was an amazing ceremony, man.
I'm not going to say I was first. I'm not being that guy. But when Kobe Bryant switched from number 8 to number 24 during that career that we knew he was off to and was gonna have and gonna complete, I said on these airways, if Bryant was here, I would ask him. Guess where I was? I was right here. I said, one of these days, 2 retirement ceremonies, and they're the only team to have 2 different numbers retired for one person, and it's 3 statues. It's going to be 8, 24, and that was just the unveiling of 8. They're going to unveil 24 and a tribute for the number for his daughter that she wore in youth basketball later. And I like that ceremony. I like how the Lakers did it. And you asked me the other day my favorite player ever, and I mentioned before Zebo, it was either Kareem Abdul-Jabbar or Pistol Pete Maravich, and Kareem was very prominent at that ceremony and just one of the dignified people of sport.
Also, Brad, that just shows the impact that Kobe had on a franchise. That not just 1, 2, 3, 3 statues. It's amazing to see the legacy they have, man, on the game of basketball.
LeBron's going to get that at a couple places. He'll have 6 retired wherever he wore 6, and he'll have 23 retired wherever he wore 23. And I think he wore them both with Miami, didn't he?
Yes.
He'll join that and should. And absolutely should.
I know he had 6 with Miami. He had 6 and 23, wasn't it?
With the Lakers.
With the Lakers,
okay.
Yep.
So he only had 6 with Miami?
Yeah, he had 23 with Cleveland. So he's going to have some statues as well.
He's going to have statues, and he's going to have a lot of retirement number night tributes, and he should. He's that big a figure. And even though I've had fun at his expense with the in-season tournament and all the celebration. 2 hours in the books. When we come back, we start hour 3. We do that every Friday, talking Tigers basketball. Our guest will be Jason Munns from the Commercial Appeal on the Tiger basketball beat. It's presented by Jim's Place Grill in Collierville. That's up next.
Join the Heindel Center for the Performing Arts for an evening with Cal Ripken Jr., February 22nd, and celebrate a true champion. Ironman Cal Ripken Jr. played 2,632 consecutive games for the Baltimore Orioles. This 19-time All-Star, 2-time American League MVP, and Baseball Hall of Fame inductee is a true baseball icon. Get tickets at HeindelCenter.org to see Cal Ripken Jr., 7:30 p.m. Thursday, February 22nd at the Heindel Center for the Performing Arts on the campus of Northwest Mississippi Community College in Senatobia.
Getaway Sports Bar, the best kept secret in town, open noon to 1:30 a.m. 7 days a week. Garvin, the owner, created this SEC NFL Dream Bar over 20 years ago. You'll never miss a minute of action. 10 TVs, 5 70-inch TVs for all the big games. Rack them up on 6 pool tables. Coldest beer in town, grab you a pool stick and get you some good bar grub. 100% Angus burgers, big and moist chicken tenders. Daily happy hour Monday through Friday, 2 to 6 p.m. with long neck domestics, 225 Getaway Sports Bar, 4632 Winchester.
Hey, this is Eli Savoy, and I've got a question for you. Who wants to pay full retail for a pre-owned car or truck when you could buy it at wholesale? Wholesale Unlimited on Pleasant View, right off Covington Pike, has an unlimited selection of super sharp pre-owned cars and trucks you can buy at the wholesale price. And right now, you can use your tax refund as all or part of a down payment and still just pay the wholesale price. Chevy Silverados, F-150s and Ram trucks, Tahoes, Explorers, Jeep Wranglers, Grand Cherokees, Renegades, a Cadillac SRX, Camaros, Mustang convertible, Hyundais. Check it out. Go to wucars.com or Google Wholesale Unlimited Memphis. This is great. Your money goes a long way when you can buy at the wholesale price, and tax refund time makes it even better. Go to Wholesale Unlimited on Pleasant View, just off Covington Pike, with guaranteed approval. Tell them you heard about it right here on Sports 56, and you can thank me later.
5-Ash Roofing, it's what we do. Roofing and siding, gutters too. We're the pros you can trust to get it done right. Call on us. 5-Ash Roofing, the name to know. 5-Ash Roofing, the only way to go. 5-Ash Roofing, it's what we do. 5-Ash Roofing.
Is that not the corniest thing you've ever heard? Can you believe I paid good money for that silly jingle? Well, the experts say make it memorable, and I think I got my money's worth. 5-Ash Roof Services, proud partner of the Memphis Tigers and the official roofer of the Tigers home team. 5-Ash Roofing, 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com.
5-Ash Roofing, it's what we do. We're here for you.
Hey, Tiger fans, join University of Memphis women's basketball on Saturday, February the 10th for 901 Women Day, when the Tigers take on the Tulane Green Wave at 2 o'clock at the El Marone Fieldhouse. Join us in celebrating National Girls and Women in Sports Day with tickets for only $2. And be sure to stick around for the post-game youth clinic. Be there, be loud, and go Tigers go.
Ole Miss Rebel Yell is back. The Rebel Yell Hotline Radio Show is back on WHBQ Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Every Monday night at 6, hear the latest news on your Ole Miss Rebels with Yancey Porter with 24/7 Sports, former Ole Miss defensive tackle Mike Fitzsimmons, Gordon Ford covering SEC Sports Call, and former Ole Miss baseball announcer Gary Darby. From kickoff to free throw to extra innings, your Ole Miss sports on the Rebel Yell Hotline Show right here Monday night at 6 on Sports 56, 560 AM and 98.5 FM. Your Mid-South Sports Station.
Sports 56 traffic.
Good afternoon. They were cleaning up a wreck a few minutes ago on 40 westbound around Chambers Chapel. I had traffic a little bit slow coming in from Fayette County towards Shelby on 40 going westbound. Traffic's pretty saturated over here now on 240 East, either getting onto 385 or continuing on 240 East up by Poplar. And here comes that traffic out of Midtown on 240 South passing South Parkway. 24/7 reliable crane and rigging services right here in Memphis. Yes, I'm talking about Tomahawk Crane and Rigging. They're online at tomahawkcrane.com. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
We are Sports 56, WHBQ Memphis, and W253 DF Memphis. Flynn Broadcasting Stations.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by Hewlett & Dunn, Boot and Jean Company in Collierville. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Bryant Dacus.
Bryant will be back with us on Monday. Johnny Hill, Brett Norsworthy with you. Final hour on this Friday afternoon leading up to Super Bowl Sunday. And also on Sunday, not just the Tigers here locally, but thank goodness for the AAC. It saves us on Sunday with some really good games for us to have a break from the monotony of the very long protracted pregame show on network TV. I think it's a little much. I'll be watching. I know a lot of people will be going downtown to the game. Jason Munns from the Commercial Appeal. He joins us every Friday to talk Tiger basketball, and it's presented to you by Jim's Place Grill. Over 100 years of charcoal grill steaks, over 100 years of celebrations, family time, and lasting memories. The Terrace family with their touch for our community. Recipes that date back to the beginning in downtown to now in Collierville at the railroad tracks at Poplar and Houston Levee. Online at jimsplacegrill.com. Don't forget the Ian Grill. Every steak grilled perfectly over an open flame. Come to Jim's Place, taste and see, and feel the difference. Lunch hours Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. Dinner hours Monday through Saturday, 5 p.m. to 9:30 p.m. Since 1921, a Memphis landmark with values and a dedication to their diners through hard work. The Terrace family, they've created that memorable dining experience we all enjoy. Lunch menu, the staples like the souffle ma, the shrimp cocktail, crab cakes, and those salad dressings that are all homemade. Only they know what goes in the recipe. Dinner, the calamari, the soups, the seafood, and the steaks that they're famous for. Fillets, ribeyes, and strips. Great bar area, all at Jim's Place Grill in Collierville. Safely home from the city of brotherly love, Jason Munns. You were there last night, right?
Oh, yeah.
I knew you were there. You got to be there. You got to be there. You never know what you're going to see if you're there, do you?
That's absolutely right. But yeah, it was a very nice trip. I walked around a little bit in the Old City section of Philly, and it was my first trip there. I walked. I was just walking down the street, and I happened to see a sign, and it caught my attention. It was like an alley. It was just kind of like an alleyway, and I get a little bit closer, and the sign says, "This is the path that Benjamin Franklin walked to and from his house."
How about that?
And I was just like, man, like just the amount of palpability, if that's a word. Like,
yep. You can feel it. It's
you
like
can
D.C.
Feel the history.
It started in Philly.
Yeah, man, it was really neat to do that. Never had a cheesesteak before.
We saw it on your Twitter feed.
Yeah, just because I thought, like, why would I go to Atlanta and have a cheesesteak? Why not just wait until I go to Philly?
Yeah.
And have it there and do it the right way. And it was good. It was very, very good.
And you did. And Jason, I know in these times for all of us, budgets are different than they used to be, and the allocation for travel and everything, it's all very different. I don't think I'm alone when I say this. We appreciate the commercial appeal and y'all's commitment to bringing us on the scene Tigers coverage.
We do.
Well, thank y'all for saying that.
And your hard work.
I appreciate it too.
Because it's hard, and I'm not knocking them. I'm really not. It's hard to get back or get past some of the budget people. Is a Thursday night in Philadelphia really necessary? Yeah. Yes, it is for your readers.
Tell me about it. Yeah, I mean, you're absolutely right that sometimes it does take a little convincing. Thankfully for us, there hasn't been much of that at all this season. So, yeah, it's the way it should be, and yeah, it was a good thing I was there. I feel fortunate that I was there, and it was a good one to be at. Where does it register on the scale, like in the grand scheme of things? Like, I don't know, is it FAU in March on the last day of the regular season? Probably not, but we got a chance to see some new and different things last night with Jonathan Pierre stepping up and kind of showing what he can do a little bit, maybe reintroducing himself, and actually got a chance to catch up with Jake Elliott before the game, and should have a story on that next week.
Is he mad he's not in the Super Bowl?
I didn't even really bring up football outside of just a general question of like, hey, are you looking forward to next year?
Yeah.
I didn't really know how to broach that subject. Cause I don't think he knew that he would be interviewed, if he went to a basketball game at Temple. So I didn't want to, go guns blazing.
You wanted to keep it fun with him. That's right.
Yeah.
Time and place.
A little bit on the lighter side, but so we didn't really get into that. But
last night, Jason, I've said a couple times today, it felt like last night a little bit of a microcosm of the season, the good, the bad, and a little bit of the indifferent last night. It had it all. Stretches, arguably the best the Tigers have looked all year. And then some of those stretches with the rotations and other things and the play and the free throw shooting of what's going on here.
Yeah, there was a 9-minute stretch in the first half where Memphis outscored Temple 31-7. Dominant. Like for 9 minutes of that game, they dominated. And then there was a 15-0 run in the second half made by Temple where they're getting whatever they want on offense, where Memphis just looks disinterested on defense. Obviously, you mentioned the free throw shooting. They were 11 of 25 in the second half. Memphis missed 6 free throws in the last minute 11 of that game. I mean, you're exactly right. It's sort of a microcosm of the entire season, in that very few times has there been, like a wire-to-wire, comfortable, just in control game for Memphis. And like you had the Wichita game where they were down pretty much the entire way. Obviously the last 8 minutes of that game, things looked really good. There was a 9-minute stretch in the first half where things looked really, really good against Temple, and then it didn't. But yeah, so in that way, it absolutely was just par for the course for what Memphis has shown us so far this season.
Jason, we have seen some ups and downs during this season, but what most impressed you about last night's victory?
Well, I mean, the 9-minute stretch was very impressive in the first half that I was talking about a second ago. They scored 31 points in 9 minutes. Like that's if you do that every 9-minute stretch of a game, you're talking about putting up 120 points roughly every night. Like that is. I mean, not only were they scoring points, they were sharing the basketball. They were getting stops on defense. They were getting a few turnovers here and there.
Style points, going to really impress the net.
Yeah, I mean, and that's what I thought we were like. I had my my whole lead written, and then Temple got right back into it. But as far as what impressed me, most was just the fact that they got some contributions from an unusual suspect in Jonathan Pierre. 10 points. He was 3 of 4 from the field. All of it was from 3-point range. To me, we're genuinely being premature here. It's one game. We saw Ashton Hardaway torch Michigan, and we haven't seen him since for the most part. So we do have to, have a healthy perspective on this. It was one game. Let's see what he does. Let's see what Jonathan Pierre does Sunday against Tulane. But before we say, oh, here's a legitimate, 7th, 8th man who can give you a nice boost off the bench. But if that is a sign of things to come, a guy who can come out and go on a little heater, a little mini heater every night, well, then that's a real big shot in the arm at this point in the season for Memphis. So I would say him, Jonathan Pierre. I would say Javon Quinterly, after his 1 for 13 game from the field against Wichita State, he comes back and kind of goes nuts. I think what did he have? 19 points.
He did it
like that
in 39 minutes of play.
Yeah, 19 points, 6 assists. He was 3 of 7 from 3. How many turnovers did he have?
3.
He had 3 turnovers, 6 assists.
Mm-hmm.
Not ideal, but certainly
you can live with it.
Yeah, you can absolutely live with it. And he had 2 steals to go along with it. So he was +6 for the game, which was tied for 3rd best plus minus on the team. Actually, David Jones and Nick Jourdain were both +13 in the game. So, I would say that was encouraging to see him bounce back after a really rough game against Wichita State, despite the late 3-pointer that was arguably the biggest shot of the game, possibly the biggest shot of the season.
Jason, all the bracketology today is pretty grim. There's not a lot of good news out there. You go to Warren Nolan to strength of schedule, and I did that today, and I don't know if I want to go back anytime soon. It's at 108, and he's got his projected strength of schedule around 81 or 82, if I recall correctly. All that stuff's grim. 8 games left. We know they have to hold serve at home. I don't think can give away a single game at home, including Florida Atlantic. So it brings in the road games, and none of those are gimmies.
No, I think, and I've talked to a few people about this, my thought is that Memphis cannot lose to anyone else not named SMU and FAU. I think Memphis could probably take one, maybe even two. Like if so, they got 3 games against FAU and SMU coming up. They got the SMU road game next weekend, and then they got the home and away with FAU a little bit later. I think if they go 1-2 in those games and win everything else, they go 6-2 down the stretch and lose 2 of those 3 FAU SMU games.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I still think you'd be sweating it on Selection Sunday.
Better do something in Fort Worth and need to get to Sunday in Fort Worth.
Exactly, I agree with you. I still think even if you do that, you're not feeling good.
Oh, it's full sweat.
Sunday.
And as soon as if you play and lose, as you know very well, if you play and lose that championship game, you're quite literally still sweating as the bracket is being revealed.
Yes, absolutely. They may not even. I mean, last year they weren't even in the room.
You don't even get the orange slices yet, do you, Johnny?
No, you do not. You do not get the orange slices or the little peanut butter.
That all great manager staffs have around, right?
You do not get none of that.
Yeah, it was. It is. I wish they wouldn't do that. I wish the Americans would do something different.
I wish all of college basketball would. Maybe Big Ten, but move it to noon.
Yeah. Give us a little bit of a window. Let us have a bathroom break between the last game and the selection show.
Let us digest it a little bit, and for you guys and the ladies, everybody covering the sport, you're out there having to write about 4 angles. You're having to write win or lose in that championship game. Well, you are writing 4. You're writing win or lose in the championship game, and you're writing in or out of the tournament.
Absolutely, and that's 2 years in a row I've done that. Like build some suspense. Like give us some time to build some suspense. But going back to what I was saying, you absolutely, if you are Memphis, cannot lose to anyone, home or away, not named FAU and SMU. If you want to feel even remotely good about your chances, remotely even just average on Selection Sunday.
That's just where
we are. You have to beat everybody not named SMU and FAU, and you have to get at least one win against those in that 3 games with FAU and SMU, and probably, if we're being real, 2 of them. Now, part of that, in my opinion, is going to depend on where Clemson finishes, where Virginia finishes, where VCU finishes, where Michigan finishes. Michigan's knocking on the door of becoming a quad 2 win for Memphis.
Trying to help.
I know, and I think they're going to get there just because they're in the Big Ten. Even if they lose a lot of these games, they at least keep them close. I think Michigan's going to end up finishing in the top 100, and that'll make that a quad 2 win. So all that stuff's going to help, but Memphis has to win everything against teams that aren't SMU and FAU. Has to.
Jason, we have seen the Tiger do some bad things, turnovers, missed free throws, bad rebounding. But down the stretch, Jason, what do we really need to do to get back on track, man, and win out, man?
I would say, to me, what it boils down to is some consistency. Like, Nick Jourdain talked about this last night when we were talking to him after the game. They just have not, outside of maybe 1 or 2 games, put together a full, complete 40-minute performance. Sometimes that's bitten them, and they've lost. South Florida comes to mind. Tulane down in New Orleans sort of comes to mind. They beat up on Virginia. Yes, they win by 15 on the road at Missouri, which feels like a lifetime ago. But even the 26-point road victory where they put up 112 points at Wichita State, I think they were down at half. Or if they were up, they were only up by 1 or 2 points.
Is that right?
That
I don't
was
recall.
Still a game. That was still a game at halftime. last night at Temple, they're up 18 at halftime. Turns out it's like a 7-point, a thing where I think that Temple had pulled to within 3 with like 37 seconds left. Like it was a one-possession game with time still on the clock. So, to me, that is, forget about the minutia. Like, don't worry about the turnovers. Don't worry about the free throws, the rebounding, the defense. To me, the most important thing is leveling out. Like, getting rid of some of these valleys. Keep the peaks, but get rid of the valleys. Like that to me is that's where they will turn a corner. If you ask me.
For Coach Hardaway, and through your years of covering him, how do you think he's handling right now? Is he tighter than normal? Is he looser than normal? Maybe his friends around him that might travel with the team, be around him. What do you think his temperature is right now?
I think he's probably a little bit more. I think he's got a little bit more of a sense of urgency than he's letting on publicly. That's just my, I don't know that to be fact, but that's just my read of the situation. Mm-hmm. I think he knows exactly where they stand. I think he's probably frustrated based on some of the comments that he's made in the last few weeks, pretty frustrated that he went out and put together a schedule that was really strong, a non-conference schedule that was really strong. So that was step one. Step two was actually, making some waves, making some noise with that non-conference schedule. They did that too. All they had to do was not stub their toe in conference, but they stubbed it like 3 or 4 times. And, I gotta think that's, pretty frustrating for him. And, that's, like I said, I just get the sense that he's probably got a little bit more of a sense of urgency about him, this season probably more than any other. Now, I can't say whether or not that's actually affecting him too much one way or the other in any tangible way. But yeah, that's what my gut tells me is that this season, they were number 10 in the country. They were, some people had them as a 2 seed, most as a 3 or 4 seed, and then you snap your fingers, you blink your eyes, and you look up, and it's all gone by the way. It's all gone by the wayside. Yeah. You've slid backwards really fast and really far, and but we'll see. Winning helps. Winning does help, and they've won 2 games in a row with a chance to get some revenge on Sunday.
It beats the heck out of the alternative. Winning always covers up a lot. Sunday afternoon against Tulane, trying to get the split with Tulane after dropping that one in New Orleans to the Green Wave 81-79, and season sweep last year for Tulane, and then the Tigers put it on them down in the AAC tournament. Jason, I forewarned you we wanted a Super Bowl winner and score. It's your time, and it's for a big grand prize.
Is it?
Yeah,
you didn't tell me that.
We haven't come up with what it is, but it will be big, and it'll be a grand prize.
It's going to be grand.
All right, cool. All right, so let's go. I'm going to give you the score first.
Okay.
And then I'll give you the winner and loser. My score is 41-28.
Oh, you are a high man, no doubt.
Yeah, I always I know that it doesn't always seem it never seems to work out for me when I pick scores, but that's what I'm going with, 41-28, and I'm going Chiefs over Niners.
Kansas City 41-28.
I can't bet against Mahomes.
Everybody's saying the same thing.
Will you file and be done Sunday afternoon in time to scurry home by kickoff?
Probably not by kickoff, but I'll see enough of it that I care to see. The running backs coach for the Chiefs is none other than Todd Pinkston.
Yep.
Which
great wide receiver.
Memphis fans should remember him well. He was a wonderful wide receiver at Southern Miss.
I remember him here in a Liberty Bowl, don't I?
Yeah, it would have been '98. Adalius Thomas was in that game.
Yeah,
doing stuff. The former New England Patriot star, Baltimore Raven guy. But no, Todd Pinkston is a wonderful guy. I covered him not only at Southern Miss, but also when he got into coaching at a local high school down in the Hattiesburg area called Petal High School.
Yeah,
and
home
a
of Ray
really
Perkins.
big fan. Yes, really big fan of. Man, this is I could. You're amazing. You are. Ray Perkins is a great guy too.
Ray Perkins was a nice man.
Yeah, he was insane. He was the head coach at Jones County Junior College while I was still down in Hattiesburg.
Yeah.
He couldn't have been nicer to me. And but anyway, so I'm rooting for Todd Pinkston, a former Philadelphia Eagles wide receiver, tying it back to Philadelphia.
That's good stuff. I can give you a fun fact about the Super Bowl that Ray Perkins played in and won, Super Bowl V, kind of the fumble fest, Colts over the Cowboys. That day, 3 people on the field that would later become coach at Alabama. Wide receiver Ray Perkins, who played at Alabama, later head coach, succeeded Bear Bryant. Bill Curry, starting center for the Colts, became head coach after Ray Perkins at Alabama, and defensive back coach for the Dallas Cowboys, Gene Stallings.
Wow. Yeah, like I said, you're unrivaled. Although I do have one for you.
Okay.
Do you know who?
You can put the pressure on me. Here we go, Johnny.
Here we go.
Do you know who was the first person to give Bill Belichick a full-time coaching position in the NFL?
I think it was Ray Perkins with the Giants when he was head coach.
It was. If not for Ray Perkins, there might not have been a Bill Belichick and might not have been Tom Brady. Like, that's a wormhole we could go down. But I did a story with Ray before one of the Super Bowls where the Patriots were playing, and we talked about that. And it was
Belichick had been with the Colts, but basically as volunteer coach.
Correct.
And
Correct.
Perkins had a lot of friends from the Colts, having played for him. Mm-hmm.
Correct.
Yeah.
It was the first full-time, like, real deal coaching gig that he had in the NFL, and so
he did okay with it, didn't he?
The NFL would look a lot different if not for Ray Perkins.
It would. Jason Munz, man, we enjoy you on Friday. Have a great weekend, and we'll be listening. We'll be reading on Sunday with you at the game.
Good stuff. Thanks.
Thank you, Jason. Have a great weekend. Jason Munz with us every Friday from the Commercial Pilts, presented to you by the great people at Jim's Place Grill in Collierville. That's a way to start the weekend. We're going to do our picks when we come back, Johnny. We're going to go over all of our pickers. Jason is high man at 41-28.
Go big or go home.
And he is going big, and seemingly there are very few 49er pickers and even fewer unders. We'll go over those. We'll make our picks. We'll look at some of the fun prop bets. We do that, and we'll have Taco Bell Crunch Time. 30 minutes to go on this Friday afternoon. You're listening to Sports Time.
Be sure to follow us at Sports56 WHBQ on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube to watch live video of our shows, stay up to date with station events, and have chances to win prizes. Don't miss out on anything that's going on. Follow us at Sports56 WHBQ.
Bartlett Small Engine has been serving quality power equipment since 1970. They have a full line of power equipment, parts, and services for most makes and models. Bartlett Small Engines has the best brands in the power tool industry, and they're all American made. Bartlett Small Engine is your can-do store. 6780 Summer Avenue. Call 901-386-9779.
Bartlett Small Engine has free pickup and delivery both at your home and curbside for lawnmowers, blowers, edgers, and any small engine. Call 901-386-9779.
At Grainger, we're for the ones who specialize in saving the day and for the ones who've mastered the art of keeping business moving. We offer industrial-grade supplies for every industry with same-day pickup and next-day delivery on most orders, all backed by real people ready to help. So you can get the right answers and products right when you need them. Call quickgrainger.com or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Katrina Miles, Farmers Insurance in Memphis, reminds everyone that the blood you donate will give someone another chance at life. Someday that someone might be a friend, loved one, or even you. Give blood and give the gift of life. That's Katrina Miles, Farmers Insurance in Memphis. Trust their years of experience for all of your insurance needs. Call Katrina Miles, Farmers Insurance at 901-270-9487. That's 901-270-9487.
All 650 acquisition fee, Forte RE 722-812, MSRP 21,590, Sorrento PG 242710, MSRP 33010, Telluride RG 462-822, MSRP 38705. Includes all rebates and incentives. Must finance through Hyundai. Excludes tax title and license. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through 2/29/24 with approved credit. Dealer stock only.
Hey, Jeff Allen, you ready to get this party started at Gossett Kia South Mount Moriah?
You bet I am, Randy. Gossett's got your new Kia that gets 41 MPG highway. 2024 Kia Forte LXS, $239 a month, $27.99 due at signing. Need extra room? How about a 2023 Kia Sorrento LX at $319 a month, $34.99 due at signing. And a 2024 Kia Telluride S all-wheel drive, $459 a month, $34.99 due at signing. All 36-month lease.
Plus, get peace of mind because with every Gossett Kia, you get a 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty.
So whether you live in Horn Lake, South Haven, Olive Branch, or Memphis, you'll be happy at Gossett Kia on Mount Moriah.
2680 Mount Moriah or online, KiaMountMoriah.com.
Whether this is your first February with your significant other or your 5th or your 30th, when they say, I don't want anything special for Valentine's Day, what they mean is, take me to a fancy dinner at 117 Prime, Memphis's premier dining destination. Another thing you may not know is Valentine's Day dinners at Prime don't have to be on Valentine's Day. It could be any time in February, the month of love. 117 Prime is the most romantic thing you could do for somebody other than taking them to Paris. Let the romance experts at 117 Prime make this the Valentiniest Valentine's ever.
Sports 56 traffic.
Good afternoon. Trying to finalize this crash out here on 40 westbound near Chambers Chapel coming in from Fayette County. Has been a little bit slow, mostly rubbernecking delays. Traffic's picked up even more in the last few minutes, leaving Midtown on 240 southbound, passing Norris as you make your way 240 east onto 385 Billmores Parkway, starting to get a little bit more saturated heading out towards the Collierville area. Weimer's Jewelry located 7525 Highway 64 is your Valentine's Day headquarters. Go see them this weekend. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by Hewlett & Dunn Boot and Jean Company in Collierville. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Bryant Dacus.
It's that time, Johnny. We're going to make our picks. We'll do our straight-up picks, as we have done it throughout the entire kind of NFL tournament on each game. Mm-hmm. And then we'll do against the point spread, as we have all year, going way back to our Friday football forecast picks from First National Bank and Trust that started for college way back on September 1st. And for the NFL, we did those picks for that first weekend way back on September 8th. A lot of picks through the years. We'll get to those. We've had our picks from everybody today, and we've had our picks from all our people all week. We'll go over every one of those at some point and add ours in there as well. First, I want to start with you, Johnny. I guess you're going to have to give me your entire pick because it might be straight up for Kansas City. Who's your pick for Super Bowl 58?
I waited until our show to give this pick. I got the 49ers straight up. I just see them beating them. I love the matchup. Hey, man, come on now.
How about that?
Hey, that's amazing. I just love the matchup that you talked about yesterday that nobody talking about. Travis Kelce versus Fred Warner. Man, that linebacking core, man, I feel like they're just going to beat him, man. Fred Warner really going to have the task. Him and Greenlaw going to have the task.
They've got to hit Pacheco hard. They can't let him if he clears that level, you can put it on the board.
Yeah, because
if he gets into the secondary. Yeah. I'm talking good, clean football when I say this. If Mahomes is out there scrambling around,
they got to just put it on.
Got to put a shoulder into him. We don't lead with head anymore. That's good. We want to keep our game. That's the way we got to play it. I'm fine. I want to keep football. I'll give that up, and it's irrefutable that it's safer.
Yeah, it's way safer. And, man, they just got to make a statement. I just feel like them linebackers, they're going to have a day.
They got
They gonna have a day.
Your score?
I have it. I'll say 27 to 20. 27 to 20.
27-20. You have the
49ers.
You have the Niners winning. Group lock on the Niners plus the points. Group lock on the Niners straight up. Bryant Dacus, he has the Niners winning 27-24. You're right
okay.
there.
Okay.
And as I've said, and I'm gonna try it again, for the second time in Super Bowl history, on overtime and at the buzzer, San Fran wins it 23-20. But how would you like to have the under 47.5, and it goes to overtime, and each team kind of splits that you get both teams get the ball.
Yeah.
You get a touchdown or a field goal out of it. The other team gets the ball.
Yeah.
It's not sudden death at that point, and it blows the over.
Oh, that's going to be tough.
Now, after each team gets the ball, that's when sudden death rules apply. For instance, if the team that got it first only got 3, and then the next team got a touchdown,
down and score.
They won't kick extra point. It would be
it's game.
It'd be game. If they got a field goal and tied it, then whomever scores next wins the game by however many means of scoring rules apply, even a safety.
Man, even like you say, even the safety. I'm looking forward to this game, man. You just got me hyped about this.
I'm ready for it.
You got me hyped about this game right here because I've been waiting for this. Patrick Mahomes, Brock Purdy, a lot of things can change, man. Will people finally start talking about Brock Purdy in a better light? He got to have a good game. Or is Patrick Mahomes keep on that track of chasing Brady, man? It's so many great storylines with this.
The storylines are there. The coaching storylines are there.
Oh, it's very there.
The tight ends that we've talked about. We've talked about the linebackers. We've talked about all the different players in it. And I love the Super Bowl. I've watched and mostly can remember all of them except for Super Bowl I. I don't have anything on that. Super Bowl II, classic family story of ours, Johnny. Something that
tell me, Brad. Tell me.
No younger generation can appreciate this. So we were invited to friends' house to go and watch Super Bowl II.
Yes.
Because they had a color television.
Are you
All we had
serious?
was a black and white. And we got to go to their house and watch it on their big cabinet color TV.
I love
it.
I love it, man. I love it.
And I'm friends with these people. They had a son much older than me. Really, he was closer to my mother's age, and he was in Vietnam.
Really?
That day, and I can remember when we blessed the food, his mother in prayer, asking for his safety in Vietnam. And when I see him, I always kind of remind him, I watched Super Bowl II at your parents' house while you were in Nam. He said, I wish I would have been with y'all.
Hey, not to get off subject, but what's the best Super Bowl that you ever witnessed? Because you said you seen Super Bowl II.
Super Bowl II.
Now that's legendary status right there. That's legendary.
That was Packers Raiders, and the Packers won.
Yeah.
The second one, that was in Lombardi's final game. And what was odd about Super Bowl II and III, Super Bowl III was the famous Joe Namath guarantee to win the game.
Oh, yeah.
It really put the Super Bowl on the map. That's the only time in Super Bowl history that in back-to-back years it was in the same city. Miami for Super Bowl II, Miami for Super Bowl III.
Man, that's amazing, man.
But my favorite, I'm going to break it down a couple of different ways, if you don't mind.
Go ahead.
I've been to 5, so I'm going to go with the ones that I went to.
Okay.
And I saw at least 4 classics. Super Bowl 47 in New Orleans.
Okay.
And that was Ravens over the 49ers.
That's a classic. Ray Lewis last game.
Ray Lewis last game. The lights going out. Beyonce at halftime. Colin Kaepernick was great that day.
Yeah.
And I thought on his way to legendary NFL status. Longest kickoff return in NFL history.
With Jacoby
Jones.
Yeah.
And so that was 47. I didn't go to 48, so I went to 49 in Phoenix, and that was the Malcolm Butler play at the goal line, and that was right in front of me. That was the best media seat that I ever had that day. It was kind of right. Now, I was in a terrace level, but it was right in front of me on that goal line. I was looking right down that goal line.
You see, So you seen Malcolm Butler jump the pass.
You could see, and I'm going, why are you throwing? Why are you throwing? And he caught it and intercepted. Game was over. So that was 49. Super Bowl 50 was the least best of the 5 games I went to, but the historical aspect of it being Super Bowl 50, Peyton Manning's last game, Cam Newton MVP season for Carolina, and the game was kind of in the mud.
It was a defensive game.
And that day pregame, and I had my binoculars on. Peyton Manning was so glad to be there for his last game and for him to get his second. But pregame, I'm watching him, and Johnny, he just had nothing left. I mean, he couldn't let one go pregame 30 yards, 40 yards. Could not. And I'm watching. I'm going, if I'm watching this pregame, I know the Panthers staff is watching it.
Man, and that was one of the saddest points of seeing Payne. Cause
it was
I grew up watching Payne, and it's like that's sad to see a legend go out like that.
It was sad to see, and what was interesting about that day, post game, when people would ask him about coming back next year, he was leaving the door a little bit open, and the media around his mother, people were asking Olivia Manning, "What about next year?" And firmly. No punches pulled. This is his last game.
Yeah,
he has played his last, and they were concerned about injury and quality of life going forward. So then Super Bowl 51, and it was my favorite. And I'd been calling my overtime for years, and I finally got it. The Falcons up 28-3, they blow the lead.
That's a legendary game.
And Tom Brady comes back and wins in overtime. And then Super Bowl 52, my 5th and final game representing this radio station, and an honor so much for me to dream of watching Super Bowl II on a color TV to someday being at 5 different ones. I have been just so very blessed to be in Minneapolis that day for the Eagles to beat Tom Brady. So I saw Brady win a couple. I saw him lose one of the 3 that he lost.
Man, that's amazing, man.
Now, all that said, the 2 Eli Manning Super Bowls over Tom Brady, I was a nervous wreck at my house watching those games and loving it and pulling so hard for him, and knew how important that the second one really was, because this time next year will be the first time he's up for Hall of Fame induction.
Oh, man.
And I don't think he would have a prayer of getting in without adding that second one, that second Super Bowl.
He needed that second
MVP. And everybody knew it too. Kind of, in the Ole Miss world and loving Archie and loving that family, they knew what 2 would do and how it would separate him. I really thought he would fill in more playoff success on the back of the football card after that day, but they were just horribly operated by Jerry Reese and the front office, and they didn't add a lot with him for the future.
And he was an Iron Man too, Brett. He was an Iron Man for the longest
19 years,
man,
or 16 years, yeah.
How he lost that Iron Man status, and they just put Daniel Jones in. And it
didn't go over well.
It didn't go over well. Then they end up putting him back in.
That didn't go over well either.
So they wasted his time.
They did. I thought a lot of his years. Now I will definitely recognize that both of the Giants' wins were very much defensive wins.
They were.
That first one, what Justin Tuck and OCU maneuvered.
Ooh.
What they did to Brady and to the Patriots, you could argue Tuck could have been MVP of both of those that Eli won. But when you got the ball in your hand, you got to go on that drive to win that game. We just know the MVP world is going to the quarterbacks.
Yes, it is, man. And the thing is, Eli made moments in Super Bowls, like in history. So
he had those moments.
So that makes the biggest thing, and also going into a Super Bowl MVP and a Hall of Famer. Man, that household is legendary.
And we'll see. I think he goes in. I know he goes in at some point. It might be a delayed entry. He may not go in next year.
Man, if he becomes a first ballot, I will be shocked. But like you said, he gonna have a statue in Canton. He gonna be in Canton.
I think so, especially someday. So here's all our picks this week: David Cobb, Kansas City; Shelby Mass, Kansas City; Michael Cole, Kansas City; Dave Woloshin, Kansas City; Brent Beard, Kansas City; Blake Lovell, Kansas City; Bo Marchant, San Francisco. Kevin Sweeney, San Francisco. Pat Smith, Kansas City. Keith Smith, Kansas City. Greg Gaston, Kansas City. Alan Bell, Ty Richardson today, both Kansas City. Bruce Marshall, San Francisco. Bryant, Brett, and Johnny, all San Francisco.
Group lock.
You mean to sing now? If you're going to San Francisco, wear the flowers in your hair, and I'll quit singing because I don't want people to have wrecks in rush hour traffic. One time I was singing on the show with Dave, and he goes, so all your money your parents gave you for singing lessons, you just pocketed it, right? I guess I did. That's our picks. We got a group lock, and it will be fun on Sunday afternoon for Super Bowl 58. But I am really glad we've got a diversion with sports with the AAC games on Sunday to give us something. I've said it many times on this show, said it earlier in this week. There was a time that, especially CBS, when they had the Super Bowl, they would roll out early college basketball game kind of into their golf coverage and then into their Super Bowl coverage. You don't get that as much from the college basketball anymore.
Man, no, you don't, man. It's completely
I'll watch some
different.
of the Phoenix Open on Sunday. How much of the Phoenix Open are you watching? You got to get ready for golf picks, Johnny. You got to start studying.
I've been paying attention to, we got a golf show on Sports 56. I produce the golf show.
That's a good show.
Yeah, it really is. So I've been prepared, but I've been prepared. I'm trying to see some more things. I'm learning more, so I'm prepared, man. I can't wait for the golf
Brian
picks.
will warn you. We take the golf picks really serious. Maybe too much.
I'm here for it. I'm here for the golf picks.
But that's all of our picks for today, and we've done a lot of picks this year. I'll have the full wrap-up on Monday where the scoreboard stands, but when we come back, we wrap up this Friday afternoon with Taco Bell Crunch Time.
We are real sports talk. Sports 56 WHBQ. Available on your radio dial at 560 AM and 98.5 FM, as well as around the world online at sports56whbq.com. Take us with you everywhere by downloading the Sports 56 app. And at home, just say, Alexa, play Sports 56. Wherever you are, stay tuned in to Real Sports Talk. Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Hi, folks. Bob Burkheimer, Sunrise Buick GMC truck. Going to start out the new year buying a new or used car or truck. Remember, the selection's better and the savings are bigger at Sunrise. Acres of new cars and trucks to choose from. A $5 million used car inventory of late model GM certified cars and trucks. And remember, Sunrise specializes in cars and trucks under $99.95. Don't forget, Sunrise has a financing plan for everybody and specializes in secondary financing. The #1 volume Buick and GMC dealer in the Mid-South. Sunrise, we're saving you money. It's just the way of doing business, partner. Covington Pike, Wolf Chase, and Collierville.
Oh no, your little one has caught a cold and has a cough. Help them feel better fast with DayQuil Kids from Vicks. It's specifically formulated just for kids, and it helps treat their most bothersome cold symptoms. It's also available in 2 delicious flavors, honey and berry. DayQuil Kids is the daytime congestion, coughing, stuffy head, stuffy nose, just for kids medicine. Pick it up at your local pharmacy or any major retailer today. For kids 6 and up, use as directed.
We all appreciate luxury. We love the newest technology. We want something that sparkles and looks great. Well, I've got it all in one place. It's called Genesis of Olive Branch, right at the corner of Highway 78, that's Lamar, and the first exit in Mississippi, that's Craft Road. Turn left and you will see Genesis of Olive Branch. And right now, you can get the 2024 Genesis GV70 starting at $49,480 with special financing as low as 3.49% on select models. How about the 2024 Genesis GV80? A little bit bigger, starting at $55,995, financing as low as 5.49% with a $2,000 rebate when trading a luxury brand. Call them. They'll even bring you a Genesis at your work or your home for a test drive. They're convinced that when you drive a Genesis, you're going to want one. Call 662-890-6684. Ask for Vinny. Genesis of Olive Branch.
Hey, what's up, everybody? This is your buddy Johnny Radio. I'm here with Mark, the owner of Dyer's, out in Collierville's historic town square, where they've been cooking up them burgers since 1912, the old-fashioned way. Mark, what's going on in life? I see you got your 4 kids with you. What do they love about Dyer's?
Man, they love everything about Dyers. They love all the great food that we serve, and they really like eating our good food and watching some of their favorite sports.
Braden, what do you like at Dyers?
I like a bacon burger with fries, a milkshake, and with a Tigers game in the background.
Carter, who's your favorite football team?
The Carolina Panthers, and just with some macaroni with that sounds amazing.
My man Beckham, what's your favorite food over at Dyers?
We like the double cheeseballs.
Kinley, what is your favorite dish over at Dyers?
Daddy's cheeseburgers and the Dallas Cowboys game in the background.
Just remember, everybody, bring your family, bring your friends, bring your team out and eat at our place.
So head on over to Dyers in Collierville's historic town square.
It's leap year, so jump into big savings at Gossett Kia on the Pike. New 2024 Kia Forte LXS gets 41 MPG, $239 a month, $27.99 due at signing. How about 7-passenger seating? Get 2023 Kia Sorento LX, $319 a month, $34.99 due at signing. 2024 Kia Telluride LX, $459 a month, $34.99 due at signing. All 36-month lease, and don't forget, every Gossett Kia comes with a 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty. So call Bobby J to put you in a new Kia today. That's Gossett Kia, 1900 Covington Pike, or online anytime at KiaCovingtonPike.com.
If you want it, we got it at Gossett Motor Cars.
All 650 acquisition fee, Forte RE722-812, MSRP 21,590, Sorento PG 242710, MSRP 33010, Telluride RG 462-822, MSRP 38705. Includes all rebates and incentives. Must finance through Hyundai. Excludes tax, title, and license. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through 2/29/24 with approved credit. Dealer stock only.
Now back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by Hewlett & Dunn Boot and Jean Company in Collierville. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Bryant Dacus.
This is pretty cool, and we're just getting started, so.
Go crazy, folks! Go crazy!
This is for all the biggest crunch time.
You are looking live. In your life have you seen anything like that? Goodbye! Hello, Haskins.
It's obviously crunch time.
Hammer, nail, coffin, this baby is over.
The double steak grilled cheese burrito, so good. Double the steak with nacho cheese sauce, seasoned rice, red strips, sour cream, and the 3-cheese blend wrapped inside a warm flour tortilla, with even more 3-cheese blend grilled on the top. The double steak grilled cheese burrito, it hits the spot now at Taco Bell. And at Taco Bell, when they say they are feeding people's lives with unexpected good, they mean it. Bowl food you can't get anywhere else.
Well, Brett, I'm going to start it off, make my, debut. So, Brett, what I did learn, I'm going to say what I learned yesterday. I learned that Joe Flacco, he did become comeback player of the year. And one of the most amazing things, he was on his couch. And if I'm not mistaken, he also was doing some teaching and some more stuff. And that's just amazing to see what he did, from literally coming off his couch to helping the Browns make a playoff run.
He won that comeback player over DeMar Hamlin. Look, DeMar Hamlin's the comeback player of the universe forever and ever and ever.
Yeah.
From what he came back from. I had a little issue with Kevin Stefanski winning the Coach of the Year over D'Amico Ryans. I thought D'Amico Ryans should have
I had
won
a
it.
huge problem with that.
And I was glad that Will Anderson, first Alabama defensive player to be defensive rookie of the year since D'Amico Ryans, and only the third ever with Derek Thomas. What I learned today, and it was last night as well, one of the strongest, most impressive public sports people I think I've ever seen, Vanessa Bryant, the widow of Lakers legend Kobe Bryant. The ceremony for the unveiling of the first of 3 statues, it was really moving for the late, great Kobe Bean Bryant. Late February of his last season, I'm so glad now that I went to FedEx Forum to watch him play last time through Memphis. He was 5 of 4. I looked this up at Basketball Ref. He was 5 of 14 from the field, 1 of 2 free throws, 13 points that night for the legend in his last trip through Memphis.
Man, that's amazing, man. The impact that he had on just the culture of basketball and personally, like my generation and your generation, it's amazing, man. What I could have learned, like what I could have done without, was the criticism from the Kobe Bryant statue. A lot of fans, they didn't like it, saying, man, why did this the image, or why is this
And I
why
liked
that?
her response to that, and I can't repeat it.
Yep, I liked her response too.
First
And
word was tough, and the second one starts with S.
yeah, yeah, I agree, man. The thing of the matter of the fact is that Kobe wanted that. She said it, and it's not your place, man. Just respect the wishes, man. Enjoy the game, man, because that we will never see a player like Kobe Bryant again.
He was quite something. I remember his dad, Jelly Bean Joe Bryant.
With
the Philadelphia 76ers out of LaSalle. Yeah.
I love it, Brett.
Yeah.
I love it, Brett. Brett throwing facts.
I could have done without Antonio Gates being left out last night. I mean, what's he going to do over the next year that gets him in next year that he didn't get in this year for? He was one of the top 5 tight ends of all time. If they made him wait, they're sure going to make his quarterback mostly for his career. And Phillip Rivers.
Phillip Rivers, he gonna wait.
116 touchdowns for Antonio Gates, almost 12,000 yards. He'll be in next year, but why make him wait?
Man, one thing you can't deny is his greatness, man.
The Hall of Fame will say we can't put in 15 or 20 people a year, or the ceremony would take a week to have. We got a week. Have it.
Me too, man. I love it, man.
Where you beaming to?
Oh, you know where I'm beaming at, Brett. I'm beaming to the biggest game of the year.
Vegas, baby.
The Super Bowl, man. I'm beaming to the Super Bowl, man.
Allegiant Stadium, Super Bowl, LVIII. Debo Samuel must be big. San Fran pass rush needs to be great. San Francisco trying to get to 40 postseason wins and 6-2 in Super Bowls. Kansas City trying to get their 24th postseason win and 4-2 all-time in Super Bowls. We'll watch it all this weekend, including Kentucky and Gonzaga. I like that for a change of pace, and I like that Sunday we got the AAC to watch games leading into Super Bowl 58. Super Bowl 58 coverage will start right here on Sunday afternoon at 2 o'clock from Westwood 1 all the way to kickoff and all the way to a late post game. That'll be a lot of fun. Want to thank Alan Bell, Bruce Marshall, and Ty Richardson and Jason Munns for joining us today. Bryant Dacus will be back with us Monday. We were glad he was able to be off. Thank you, Johnny. For Johnny Hill, I'm Brett Norsworthy. Everybody have a safe, great weekend. We'll talk to you Monday.
At Edwin Watts Golf Shops by Worldwide Golf, there's something